Inflation is firmly back in focus here ahead of today's PPI reading that's going to be coming out here at 8:30 a.m. We also have tons of earnings and tech-related pieces of news to discuss. But let's start with what the S&P 500 is doing right now. Poised to open slightly higher compared to where we closed yesterday, though, of course, we are a little bit removed from these pre-market highs. If you take a look here at the NASDAQ actually looking pretty similar to the S&P 500. We'll talk about some of that tech strength and what's potentially driving that move in the NASDAQ in a little bit. Here is the USO as of right now, relatively flat. We did get some moves here in the USO, as we know that more strikes happening here with the U.S. towards Iran, as well as that blockade here of the Iranian ports getting reinstated as of 4 p.m. yesterday. So yesterday's market close. Take a look as well at PayPal, PYPL, absolutely going to be in focus here today, guys. Now, as we know, according to Reuters, Stripe and Advent have actually offered to buy the company for more than $53 billion. Some of those earnings I mentioned earlier that we're going to be talking about here today include ASML, Morgan Stanley, Johnson & Johnson, and after the bell today, we actually get United Airlines. We're going to also, again, just to go over, I mentioned PPI, but just to do kind of a more thorough bit of housekeeping here. 8:30 a.m., you get PPI year over year and month over month, core and non-core. You're also going to get New York Fed manufacturing, though obviously a much less closely watched number than that PPI print, especially after cooler than CPI across the board. Yesterday at 8:45, you get comments from Fed's Williams. Then you get Fed Chair Walsh testifying, this time for the Senate Banking Committee for that semi-annual monetary policy report. That's going to be at 10 a.m. At 11 a.m., President Trump on camera here at a policy meeting. Then you get Fed's Cook at 1 p.m. and then another appearance from Trump at 3:15. So a lot to watch today. But let's start with going over what happened, I guess, last night and this morning. Good morning, Sharif. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing today?
Well, as you mentioned, PayPal in focus here, $60.50 a share is the price being floated around, Neil, and we're showing 56.25 right now. So there's definitely a premium there. We're going to keep an eye on PayPal. It's already knocking on the door of 20%. ASML with a blowout quarter, boosting some other chip names as well, and Intel included. NVIDIA, apparently some H200s have found their way to China. I'm shocked. We'll have to see if that continues to go. SK Hynix, a tale of two stories, Adara. Up on the Kospi, down on North American markets to the tune of 6 2/3. And then Apple with multiple headlines, whether it's Prism ML, we reported this to you guys yesterday in the afternoon, or the child exploitation case for, I think it was in the European Union or something like that. We'll get to it later on the rundown. That's in focus. Meta and Google both in focus. Solar for Google, Meta apparently laying off people using AI who have medical conditions, kind of an interesting story there. And then Baba, Adara, up 3 3/4 here because they're going to be the partner for Apple Intelligence in China. That got the nod from the regulator. And Johnson & Johnson, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, the list goes on.
Yeah, that Baba and Apple story pretty interesting, and one we'll definitely get into later today. But let's start by going over what was traded the most on Blue Ocean last night. So if you look here at this notional trading volume, Micron, once again, in the number one spot. Second spot, another memory name. SanDisk here coming in second place. Third most traded ticker here by notional volume, SOXL. So it's going to be the daily direction semiconductor bull 3 times ETF. You've got EWY here, so South Korea ETF in fourth place. Another South Korea ETF, this one 3 times levered to the upside in fifth place. In sixth place, you get another memory ETF, DRAM. SK Hynix American Depository shares in the seventh place here. Eighth place, you get more tech here, just the NASDAQ ETF, so QQQ. Ninth place, MUU, so a 2 times levered Micron ETF. And in the 10th spot, SOXS, the 3 times bear semiconductor ETF. Interesting list here of the most traded symbols in the Blue Ocean. But now that we've looked at what happened last night, it's time to look at what people are ready to trade today. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Neil. Lots to discuss.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I look at that Blue Ocean thing. Basically, it is memory. That's all.
Yeah, it's every day. That's what I was saying.
Memory chip.
It's a great segment, but I think it's the same thing every day.
It tells us what the theme is. Well, yesterday, the theme, we thought it was going to be bank earnings. We thought it was going to be CPI. And then all of a sudden, IBM said, hold my beer. So who's going to say hold my... Well, SK Hynix as well said hold my beer to the upside. So
27%, yes.
27% up, and then IBM 25% down. Who's going to be the hold my beer today? Because I think PayPal is an exit strategy. This is time to get... It gives you an out. It's not a firm deal, by the way. It's just an offer for 60 and a half. $60.50. This is not like accepted by the board or anything. So it's not like a deal has to happen. I think it's a great one to be able to, if you got into that one recently in the 40s, you can just bring the register on it, because even if a deal does matriculate and it ends up at the $60, you're not getting that much more from here. So yeah, a lot to look at. ASML, great quarter. Morgan Stanley, great quarter, but they're like, meh. As usual. What are they going to do with the bank earnings, man? They're only up 1%. Is what it is. Still a great quarter by them. And J&J, maybe just a healthy pullback after their earnings. So I feel like it's going to be more chips. It's going to be more about any headlines we get, maybe moving oil. It's not moving right now for sure. And then remember SK Hynix, just absolutely ridiculous yesterday. Absolutely ridiculous, the rally. And it's already starting to give a little bit back. So this name is going to stay volatile. I almost just want to just let it set up a trend. And then once you find something, even off of VWAP, just give and go. Because when it did that VWAP hold, it just really accelerated. So you know this is on watch. Even if there's no crazy great levels that you're working off of, this is one that's going to be up there and will find the trade is the way to think about it.
Yeah, I have, just trying to fix my stereo system. Look at this thing here, V. This is another one here, up another 12%. I mean, this was just a play that just keeps on continuing here. And it was a good trade yesterday, obviously. And we'll have to wait to see what it does today. Breaking through $48 here on VEE is a very good possibility. So we'll have to wait to see if this is another one of those small cap runners that I think I'll be looking at once again here today. 36 bottom. Trying to break through 48 right here. I mean, it's trying, not really. It's only at 42 right here, but we'll give it a shot there on V. And then, yeah, man, I mean, the big story for me yesterday, and all of a sudden we just started trading it at the end of the day yesterday, was SpaceX. And, we had this big 139 short there yesterday that just turned out to be huge. Like, didn't think it was going to drop like this into the, whenever I trade it, I think it's going to have a big move. But, that was bigger than I'd thought, down to 135.50 or so. It's all-time low there, 135.90 and change. We were hoping that it wouldn't open up below 135, and it looks like we're opening up above. So that's going to be really good. We'll like to see what kind of size shows up down here for SpaceX today. So that's going to be another one of those trades. But, yeah, I mean, everything's all good. There's that ASML, which is starting to get back up to the upside again, of course. I don't know are we at all-time highs? No, so starting to get to $2,000, but huge dip down by opportunities, as there has been in this whole space. And today ASML is sort of giving a little bit of a sigh of relief to that. And then, yeah, I like Sharif's story there about NVIDIA. So we'll see if we can catch some bids. Yesterday's NVIDIA was the #1 trade on the note down here at 205. And we came in, hit it, and then just ripped the rest of the day. So right now, though, it's looking, I don't know, it's not looking the greatest. We have PPI coming in. I mean, now he's starting to fade out. Look, I would still take the fact that we're holding some of these highs. ES starting to tick down. NQ trying to tick down. Morgan Stanley came out with some earnings. We can have a quick look over there as well. I mean, yesterday's bank rally was amazing. We talked about the breaking out of the XLF and, various things like that. And, even when we got the question on Monday before bank earnings, I was like, I like the XLF up here. I think banks are going to be fine. And we got questions about options, holding it, and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, yeah, you got a good one. So Morgan Stanley only up 1.2% there. But the cheapest name of them all at 12 forward earnings still remains Bank of America.
That's the one I like.
And this is at all-time highs and breaking out. And it's only 12 PE. JP Morgan, 18. Goldman Sachs, I think, is a similar, 16 to 18, something like that. So, all these stocks at all-time highs. So people thinking that, it's a trap and we're about to go to the downside. I mean, there's so many names out there. Well, if you might be right about the NASDAQ being a little bit under pressure with some of these valuations there. But at the end of the day, the S&P 500 is only at a 20 to 21 multiple. So it's pretty cheap here to play the SPY or anything in the space. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of investable ideas here today. And, yeah, J&J was a nice little dip, only down to 250. So hopefully that can dip down even more and we can buy some more J&J. But, yeah, lots of stuff to uncover here today. What is it, Netflix in a couple days? So that's going to be another one that starts off on Thursday, I believe, tomorrow night.
They really did
so we'll see if that has some good
terrible coverage on that. The Derby was amazing, but apparently Netflix wasn't the best for it. We didn't watch it here on
coverage
Netflix,
on what?
On the Derby, because they had it. They had the MLB Derby
no,
on Netflix. There's a small cap moving. I know we're supposed to have Luis on in a little bit, but there's a small capper that just pops. It's Vivosim, VIVS, 5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly. Also provided guidance that it expects revenue growth of 500% full year 2027. Obviously, you know the drill with these bad boys. They're good for, not always good for a long time, but you can have a little bit of fun with them. It is a $1. It's obviously a $1 break now. It's at $2.50. Price history tells you it's made this jaunt before, but usually stalls in the mid 3 to 4 range the last couple of times. So VIVS going to be on watch. Just like AJ Trading just said, oh, Luis is right in the chat. There he is. He says no locates on VIVS. Well, that's sort of the thing. Like, you don't really know whether you're going to be able to short. They'll probably.
Well, there is going to be.
Like the story just happened and it just popped up. My guess is give it a few minutes. Luis, I guarantee you by like 8:30, they'll usually quote a price. If they haven't by then maybe there wouldn't be any locates. But yeah, crazy one. Got another mover in here. So 250%. Will it hold on to the gains is the real question. And another one that we're going to be asking ourselves is IBM going to do anything? It's right back. There's an anchor to this.
There is
this
locates.
220.
It's 20 cents.
Oh, there is? Okay, well, there you go. 20 cents. 20 cents is expensive for a $3 stock, but there are locates. That's what I figured. Usually at worst, you have to pay at real trading. At worst.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, but like you mentioned, it's got to move 10% to grab it. So
yeah,
right now, with tons of volume going on VIVS. What's the story here, Darren? You got that one? VIVS? Yeah, I'll give you a second here. Yeah, I mean, it's now 13 million shares. It just started popping about 4.
They received a $5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly. And as mentioned, I think Neil mentioned the 500% revenue growth they're projected.
Okay, good. So there it goes, man. 2.42% here for VIVS. So yeah, nice move up there. Starting to go. But yeah, like Louis said there, and as Neil mentioned too, looking for it. I mean, it just moved 21 cents. So, not a horrible thing. And that's only if you're going short, right? We was just at 230. So there's 21 cents right there. So it's already done. But yeah, so you got to be careful about it. We will have Luis on, and congratulations, Luis, with Espanol there. Big win yesterday and completely shutting out. Kylian Mbappe had 0 shots on net. So if you had that on your bingo card, you're rich right now. So, but anyway, there it is, 264, 265, going higher right now as we speak. So yeah, man, maybe it is a bit reasonable there for 21 cents. Might have been good, but to wait for a pullback. Remember, to go long, you don't have to pay anything. We're talking about going short. So right there, nice up to 2. There, just bumped to 260, back down to 240. It's another 21 cents right there. So, definitely if you're able to catch some of the moves, probably worth it. But I do understand, it's a little bit of money to pay out of pocket there first thing in the morning. But we want to say a big shout out to everybody watching us on TikTok, everybody watching us wherever you're watching us, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Hit the like button, get in that chat, and we love to discuss all the opportunities that we have right here, right now, today. Market pretty flat. We'll watch some bank earnings. We've got some big stories to talk about there as well. There it is right there, man. Yeah, everybody, what's up, the head-to-head tycoon in there, Daisy Boy, MF Dane Generous, one of our good friends that's been here for a minute. Yeah, France was pretty hot garbage yesterday, and that's what happens. This is sports, right? Not every day.
You got to show up. Your ranking doesn't give you a pass.
No.
That's the reality. At the end of the day, that's what makes live sports so exciting. That's why live sports is like that last bastion. Let's be real for a second. Like, if let's bring it back into Netflix. Like, this is why getting the World Cup would be huge for Netflix stock. Not split adjusted, but obviously it has not been going well for these guys. But you know that this is what's going to happen. They're going to have to dominate. They can't allow their competition to get all of the big contracts, because Apple, half their competition doesn't have to make money, and they are required to. That's just a reality. Apple TV doesn't have to make money. Prime Video doesn't have to make money. YouTube makes boatloads of money, but at the end of the day, those other companies have tons of moat. They don't. They got to make this work. There was a wipeout bottom. Netflix is semi-interesting today had there been a catalyst, because there is a wipeout and double bottom on it, but it's not a very large volume low that it put in. I'd like to think you can maybe have a temporary low in Netflix, but the trend is still very much the downside for them. Yuck, and more yuck for sure on Netflix.
All right, it's 8:15. Let's go back over the desk. We've got some numbers coming through at 8:30.
So again, guys, and thank you for mentioning that, Sean, we do have some numbers coming out. Now, we know, of course, what we saw yesterday with CPI cooler than expected across the board. We're expecting cooler prints as well here for this PPI print. So I'll just kind of pull this up so you guys can see the estimates, and I'll just scroll over here. So PPI for the month of June, prior here 1.1%. We're expecting 0. Core PPI 0.4% here is 0.4%, 0.2% is the forecast. Prior was a 0.4%. Year over year, you've got this 4.9% as the previous. We're expecting here again 4.9 to 5.2%. So kind of mixed. Generally, though, a lot of these prints we're expecting to be down, I guess, compared to what they were last month, especially given with CPI. Let's see if we get more cooler prints. And keep in mind, these could also very likely get addressed by Kevin Walsh today, the Fed chair, who is still testifying in front of the Senate because he was asked about yesterday's CPI print during the House version of this hearing. Let's talk PayPal. PYPL up very sharply, one of the names that you guys are mentioning a lot here in the chat. And they could potentially be a buyout target here, Sharif.
They could. They're a $53 billion joint bid here from Advent as well as Stripe. We'll get to the details of it in a second. $60.50 per share. I believe that is about a 28% premium to yesterday's close. But let's just be honest about this, guys. $53 billion is a drop in the bucket compared to where this was valued before. An 84% collapse from all-time highs at their $360 billion valuation during the pandemic. So a lot of articles that I'm reading this morning, Adara, are making it quite clear that legacy and institutional shareholders, as well as the board, may not approve this deal without a massive bidding war. We'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about how they're going to pay for this, because it's almost all dead. $53 billion, right? $50 billion is committed bank financing, meaning that, almost the entire buyout amount is going to be leveraged. That leaves PayPal, whatever company is formed after this, with a severe constraint on their free cash flow, as they'll have to pay that back over the years. Now, look, there's two sides to this, right? We got the Advent side and we got the Stripe side. And there's two parts to PayPal's business that they're interested in. So a lot of people are thinking, all right, they're going to break up the company and they're going to take the piece that they want. No, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to keep the company as it is. They're going to keep it as a whole. But there are concerns about how navigating operations with two highly distinct yet equal stake corporate parents is going to actually work, right? These are two companies that don't do the same thing. One is traditional, of course, a private equity firm, and the other is decentralized finance. So we have that. Then, Adara, we got a new guy. Remember this Enrique Lores guy? He just came in, and he's trying to execute a $1.5 billion corporate restructuring. And that puts this whole thing, I guess, in jeopardy. So we'll have to wait and see how this all works out. But unsolicited offers typically, are a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't sound like a half cash, half stop type thing. That's for sure. Let's talk here about JTAI as well. This is a small cap. I know a lot of you guys are mentioning this in the chat, so I wanted to address it. Saw a couple of different catalysts on this one. I know yesterday they made an announcement, but this morning, apparently Fly Exclusive claiming that they purchased a lot of this company's, specifically, I think their error-related assets. So JTAI, is this something that you'd be potentially looking at today, Sharif?
You know what, Adara, doesn't look that good right now. So I pulled up the chart. I know it's up big from prior levels, but it's losing the volume weighted average price. It's already negative on the morning here to the tune of 8.5%. It's trying to hold this 4.5 area. The area low is 4, so it did defend 4 in the pre-market. By the same token, allow me just to minimize this, it did have resistance at $7.25 right at the dot there. So unless we can take out 6.25, Adara, where it seems the closing prints we're really rejecting, I probably wouldn't look at it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see here what happens here to JTAI. In the meantime, you guys watching PayPal today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, there's some things to consider here. Because to me, I'm getting out today, but to each their own. One of the things to consider is there were already rumors of a potential deal or a potential buyout earlier in the year, and it had ramped from that, low 40s to slightly mid 40s level before, and then failed at 50. So there's a certain degree of this outcome was being bought already earlier in the year. So when you factor in the two things that can happen, well, three things that can happen here, there's the chance that the unsolicited offer as is gets done at some point, maybe this year or by early next year, and you get $60.50. That's one possibility. The second one is, like Sharif said, maybe you get a bidding war and there's a higher price. And then there's the other two possibilities which come off both those. There is no deal and it goes back to trading on its own, which who knows, you could be right back at the levels where they're presuming this, or there is a bidding war and there's still no deal after the bidding war, which that's like the very unlikely possibility. So the way I see it is, even if there's a bidding war, like what are we expecting to get? Like 60, 65, something in that range. I think you got like a free run here today on PayPal. As a matter of fact, the one thing to consider is when you don't hear updates from, like, at some point PayPal will respond, and every day that goes, if the deal is not accepted by the board, let's just say, or is outright rejected, or if they say we need a higher bid and there isn't one, you can get a little slide and a little bit of a pullback. So that's one of the things that I want to be looking at today if I'm trading PayPal. It's just, can the structure hold underneath the volume weighted average price? And if it loses VWAP, does it respect where the euphoria pop was at 57.50? If it were to, I don't see any likelihood that it gets close to the $60.50 level today, so I don't think you're remotely working off that unless there is a bidding war. But I'm going to favor shorts without it being automatic because this isn't some kind of a firm deal on PayPal, but it is a great opportunity to be able to ring register. It was deal speculation when it was in the 40s. So, I mean, now you got the deal and you've got the ramps. You might as well take it.
Yeah, I like the opportunity here for PayPal, but I mean, that offers 60, so we like to see it obviously get up to that $60 mark and then see if we can, rinse out a little bit there of this position. But yeah, up 20%, great trade there for PayPal. It's interesting that Stripe is involved. Stripe's not even a public company. So I guess that was an IPO that we were waiting for. So I think that they could possibly, wrap up PayPal and Stripe, and that would maybe even be more of an attractive IPO. So I think there are some opportunities here for PayPal today to actually firm something up. I mean, I would believe that something like this could happen. Stripe looking to come public, looking to get a little bit more accounts under their belt and whatnot. I still use PayPal quite frequently. So, I like the business. I like it. Not sure much as an investment, but, it's starting to work its way back through. So you took out that 52, which is what you're waiting to do. And, obviously somebody knew something. This name was $44. And I started the show 6 years ago or 5 years ago, however long it was, saying that this market was pretty rigged. And you can see right here, nice move to the upside, 44 to 56 there in 3 days. And then you get some, interesting action there. So actually today's bump is from $52. So nice little move higher there into these levels. We know the banking system's strong. So PayPal, whether or not there's a need for them or not, Stripe's going to take them out. Put a bigger company on their balance sheet there, and more assets for when they come public. So I feel like Stripe is doing a good move here and should work out. So PayPal, nice upside plays. Joe, though, at the screen, how come you didn't give us PayPal call options yesterday, Joe?
I'm not aware of this, Sean, but we can definitely look into it. There's also another name that I believe we're going to be discussing tomorrow, and that's going to be Lucid Group. Some interesting stuff. We touched on it during the midday yesterday, and it just slipped my mind. But what we will do is we'll go over some names that went on some pretty good runs yesterday to both the top side and the downside. So let's kick things off with IBIT. So what we're looking at here, guys, is this $37 strike price, as you can see, and our open interest is quite substantial here, sitting on 41,000 contracts open right now. And on yesterday's session, we had 17,000 open and close. That's going to be expiring this Friday, so a couple days until the expiration date. Now, as for the bid and the ask, guys, you can see that we're sitting on a $2 spread, relatively liquid. We see that within IBIT, a lot of derivatives traded within this specific underlying asset. Now, as for our delta metric, guys, we're slightly OTM, but very close to at the money as we climb higher. I want to see if we can break and hold this $37 marker. If not, we can look for intraday price action to reject at 37, and then maybe some momentum pushing through that specific level. Now, our gamma exposure is relatively high. $31 on your gamma, that is up there, right? And we are closer to at the money. We know that gamma is the greatest at that marker. Now, 37% at the money IV. And what do I want us to focus on right here is this contract. So you get 125% from the open to the peak, but then it did proceed to lose half of its value, all right? So just be cautious when you're trading these near dated expiration. It's like Sharif's small cap gabbers. When you're trading a couple of days till expiration or 0 DTEs, you get those pops and then you look to take those profits and get out of Dodge. And we'll go over that example with Lucid tomorrow. But moving forward, if we can get the next slide, there we go. SpaceX is the name that we're going to be talking about, guys. We've been going on and on about the $135 marker. Well, what happens if all that liquidity is absorbed and we happen to breach the zone? Where is that next level of support? That's going to lead us right to this $130 marker where we're sitting at open interest of 16,000 contracts. Now, there's about 10,000 more at that 135, so it may make it a little bit more difficult for us to have a clean move down to 130. And then you don't want to know what is south of $130. Now, I'll tell you guys that on a later date. But as for our bid in the ask, we're sitting on a $5 spread here, guys. And our delta is sitting around $24. Very little gamma exposure because we are still OTM here. And then our at-the-money IV sitting around 77.1%. But now, as for a put contract, the name and the underlying asset actually sliding here, guys. And if you zoom out and look on the daily, it doesn't look too good. But what we have here in this specific contract is a 202% return, but then proceeds to lose the majority of its value before the latter half of the session, where it finds some form of a recovery in the underlying asset. Now, what happens here is that the decay, just due to the fact that it's a near dated expiration, what happens is when volatility starts to cool down and you don't have that a waterfall type price action within the underlying asset, you can see a slight recovery rally in the options contract pricing itself. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at a name that hit all-time highs here, some big-time moves here, guys. CrowdStrike, this $212 strike price. We're going to be looking at this. Now, surprisingly so, when this name was around $400 or $500, the spread was absolutely, it was really wide. Let me put it that way. Now it's more liquid and you're seeing that spread start to tighten up. The bid in the ask, $5. That's not very much at all for CrowdStrike. But now for the open interest, I believe this is totally absorbable. 5,000 contracts still currently open, expiring on the 17th. And as for the volume, we're sitting around 1,500. Now, our delta, $46. So you're about a half to one here. So for every $1 move in the underlying, you'll see a $46 change. And then you have to add your gamma on top of that as well, too, guys. But the at-the-money IV, 72.8%. But once again, let's focus on the contract itself. When the underlying asset had a 12% move, this contract specifically had a 2,500% move. Once again, these are like small cap trades where you get in. Once the underlying asset you feel has peaked, you look to get out. It's a little bit more difficult, easier said than done, but a lot of these big moves are happening right out of the gate when we go over our contracts. And I'm looking forward to talking some Lucid bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Lucid, yeah, we have PPI in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
I just saw that flash on the screen, so we are going to get back to you. You just mentioned it to the desk. You did mention Lucid there, and we had this move into the close yesterday, but it wasn't a huge move, but it was just 480. So I actually have it written down today again at 480 there for Lucid to have. Oh, you know what? I forgot to pay for shorts. I guess, let me see if I try 100 shares on. Okay, yeah, I still got to pay. Yeah. So Lucid right there, so I got to get into that. So 480 or so for Lucid. We want to have a quick look over there, but I'm going to go in and pay for it. We should have, like we said, we should have Luis Barbado coming on. We saw him in the chat. He's saying he's going to be here, so we're excited for that. So small cap recap in about a couple minutes, and then preceded by PPI. So yesterday we saw CPI come in a little cooler than expected. The market absolutely ripped, and then it came right back in, filled the whole gap, but then bounced off of that level and continued to go today, or yesterday. So we'll see what happens today, but I'm going to buy myself some Lucid shorts right here.
And going into that, of course, Luis is on the back end of it. We do see that UMC gap up. We try to talk about everything that's moving, but there is pretty light volume on that UMC for everyone that's putting it in the chat. We're going to go up to Adara. We've got PPI data at 8:30. We'll see the live reaction. Don't think it moves as much as CPI is my guess.
Yeah, we'll bring in Luis here right after this PPI print. Just to recap this again here, guys, PPI forecast 6.2%, prior 6.5% for year over year, month over month, 0 is that forecast versus 1.1% prior. Core PPI year over year, the only number where we're actually expecting an uptick, 5.1% was the forecast versus the prior print of 4.9%. Core PPI month over month, 0.3% is the forecast versus that prior print of 0.4%. Now, as Neil mentioned, we had a big spike yesterday after that CPI print where all four prints came in cooler than expected and the market reacted in kind. PPI still closely watched, but perhaps not as closely watched as the CPI print that we know from what we've been hearing Fed speakers mention. Core is going to maybe be the side to watch here, if anything. In just 1 second now, we're expecting these numbers. We already have here the NY Empire State Manufacturing, not a super closely watched print. US PPI, negative 0.3% here for the month over month print. So that is actually going to be cooler than expected. Core PPI month over month for June, 0.2% versus those estimates here of so again, we're kind of in line with estimates more or less here. Core PPI year over year, 4.7%, below estimates of 5.2%. So another cooler than expected print. And then for the year over year non-core print, 5.5% versus 6.2% expected. So cooler than expected across the board. Another pop up here for the market in response to cooler than expected data, Sharif.
Yeah, fantastic look at there, and the Qs are responding in kind over here. Let's have a quick look at the chart. Big move up on the triple Qs, up into 723 area, 724. So we're already up 0.5%. Everything's positive here, Dare. We're going to have to keep our eye on oil. This could be the wild card, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just to recap these numbers again, guys, 5.5% year over year PPI versus 6.2% expected. PPI month over month, a negative print, negative 0.3% versus 0% expected. Core PPI year over year, 4.7% versus 5.1% expected. And core PPI month over month, 0.2% versus 0.3% expected. Another round of all four cooler than expected prints following a similar reading here with CPI yesterday. But now it's time to bring in Luis Barbado over at Day Trading in Barcelona, Spain. I guess I have to say congrats on the FIFA win yesterday. Good morning, Luis. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yeah, I've been chatting with Cherry. Very, very happy and amazing match.
Great to hear it. Let's get right in here to these small caps. I want to start with one that I know a lot of our viewers have been asking about. There are actually a couple their viewers have been asking about. But this JTAI, pretty volatile move, kind of range bound. Is this something that you're potentially watching today?
Yes, I mean, this has, you know, when you are going to short or take any trade at all, you have like pros in the trade, things that you like and things that you don't like red flags. And I didn't take this short. It was a mistake, of course. I'm going to explain why. First, if you see technical, it was a very nice short. I mean, we fail highs, we are making lower highs, we're losing VWAP. So it looks pretty nice on the technical side, okay? And even the risk reward, you had a very tight risk with a nice reward to make the trade. So technically in the chart and the volume, the VWAP, everything, so like, okay, the trade must work. But when I checked the news, I didn't like it. You know, we have a tiny flow, like 1.4 million, I think. And the news, it was like letter of intention, so it was not confirmed, but they are talking about a merger. They were talking about a spin-off, a data center of AI. So if you check the news, you have keywords like merger, spin-off, data centers, AI-related news. So that's why I avoided this short. I was wrong, you know, but sometimes you analyze all the things and you are not very sure about taking the trade. So that's what you have to do. Couple of red flags for that short. On my side, I didn't take it. It worked perfectly. So now we are waiting for a bounce to the VWAP to short around there. 520s, 550s, that's the area we will short for the VWAP rejection trade.
I want to ask about another name that our chat's mentioning, and I know you've talked before about the strength there of certain types of catalysts and how that might change how you would potentially trade them. VIVS, here you've got Vivo Sim Labs. They are basically anticipating 500% year-over-year revenue growth. They've got a milestone payment from a major pharma company here, Eli Lilly. So my question is, VIVS, is this something that you'd potentially be looking at today?
Yeah, I would have loved to short this one, I can tell you. The new seems a good news, but it's not that big, and we have like this crazy spike, but suddenly we have a rejection very strong, and on the next pop, it broke VWAP, but you didn't see buyers coming in, so I would really have loved this short. As we spoke in the chat, it was 20 cents locate. I know it's not that much, but you have to make 20 cents range just to pay the locates and then add the profit, of course. It is not a lot, but it also you have to consider how many of the locates you actually use, because we measure all these things, and usually you don't go full size on the trade right away, right? So you go like with a starter, maybe 30% or 50% of the trade, and if you like it, then you add more to the trade or not. So usually on average, statistically talking, we use like 50-60% of the locates we ask for, okay? Because as I said, you don't go full size, all the risk in the trade right away. So if you take into account you're paying 20 cents for the locate, but you use, let's say, half of it, you are paying 40 cents actually. You have to make 40 cents with half of the locates to cover the price. So that's why I didn't buy these locates. I regret, of course, but I didn't see so clear, like being 20 cents out of the price in case you take the trade. Sometimes you don't even take the trade because the setup doesn't appear or you are not fast enough and so on. So I didn't take the locates on this one. It worked perfectly as we expected, but it's all about numbers here.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have to follow your rules. I want to ask about another name in a minute, but quickly, just for our viewers, I want to let you guys know, Nebius in focus. I guess they just introduced this asset-light AI cloud model through their partnerships and infrastructure. You got a little bit of a bounce on this, so I wanted to address that quickly. I also want to ask you about a name that made some really big moves yesterday, Luis, LCID. You had this massive move down as we got this recirculation of a catalyst from about 5-6 hours earlier, suggesting the company might be going private or considering filing for Chapter 11 protection. Then they come out, they say this isn't true, the stock totally bounces. Were you watching this name at all today? Because I know it's not a small cap, or yesterday, sorry. It's not a small cap in the traditional sense, but pretty small price here.
Yeah. Usually what we try to do is trade stocks that have a gap up pre-market. Why? Because we have levels to watch. We have pre-market highs, we have the VWAP, we have the most volume prices traded during the pre-market. Maybe we have previous days. Most of the times when we have a stock that is news during the market, we find like very difficult to trade. This could go to zero. It could say, as you say, it's fake news, and it could go all up. So the risk is too high. You don't have levels to rely on from pre-market or from previous days. So usually we try to avoid. And also with this kind of big news, a halt is on the way. If you go short here thinking it's gonna liquidate the company and it help up, so it's a lot of risk, and we don't have these levels, as I say, pre-market to rely to set up the stop losses in case the trade doesn't work. So we avoided this ticker actually.
I want to ask you about one last name here. This one actually did have a gap up pre-market, and it's actually still moving higher. This is this ERNA, or Nexus Therapeutics. Day one, it's got a catalyst, and here it is, I guess, some validation of one of their treatments with complete tumor clearance. It's going to be a biotech play. ERNA, is this something you'd potentially be having an eye on today?
Yeah, I missed this trade because I was doing other things, but it was a very nice short. If you set up like 5 minutes, you have a couple of levels here where we traded. You see in these consolidations, a lot of volume around there, $12.50, $13. We could have short that one there. Of course, not front side, but once the stock fail on the highs, right here, when it loses VWAP, you can go short there with a tighter stop. You see it lost here, the support, 12.50, lost support on 11.50. You can go short there with around 60 cents or $1 stop loss and a lot of movement down. Locates were not very expensive on this one. I think it was something like $10 per 100 shares, so 10 cents movement per share. So it's kind of cheap for the movement you expect. It was a nice short there. A little bit similar than the other GTI. We're waiting here for a VWAP rejection, shorting against these 1030s, 1050s with a tight stop around 1070s or something like that. It might bleed down during the day, but if volume comes in, we trade above VWAP again and buyers take control of the stock, it might go to highs. Most likely it will fail VWAP and with lower volume bleed, but be aware if it breaks 1050, 1070 and buyers come in, volume pops up right off the gate when the market open, we might see new highs. So very interesting stock to trade actually.
Thank you for going over that one for us, Luis. Is there anywhere that the people can find you if they want to learn more about what you do over at Day Trading?
Yeah, absolutely. They can check out on X. We are Day Trading on X. and they can email us to info@adaytrading.com. We're planning for the next week. We will say to you guys, we're planning for a course, theoretical and practical course in English for the first time, because we have a lot of viewers of Trader TV willing to join us. So next week we will give you details to sign up for this course in small cap trading.
Can't wait to hear all about it. Congrats on the course. You can also check out Luis on the midday with Joe and Sharif every Wednesday around 1 p.m. And he's often in our chat as well. Thanks, Luis Barbado over at A Day Trading. Have a good one.
One last stock we don't want to forget is VE, right? It's been crazy active these days. And we try to short here on this area for the first, we call it the first red day. If 37 was holding and trading below this 37 and below VWAP, we could have seen a huge movement down. The problem here, it broke, as you can see, that support resistance area, and it went all the way to highs. Here, locates is like $40, $50 per 100 shares of 40 cents movement. It's nothing if you are willing to make at least $5, $10 trade maybe. Yesterday was very nice. When it broke here, after market, look at that, it's like $10 in 1 minute. So we were relying on that short against this area. It broke, so we're waiting for a new rejection of this rectangle here, 46, 47, short there with a tight stop. But if we break highs, listen, this can go to $100. Who knows? Look at that, you know, it coming from $300. So we have a gap, huge gap around here that we are covering. So be very careful if it breaks $50 and buyers come in. There is no liquidity anymore above this $50, $60 range.
Yeah, VEEE. Looks like that one's still in focus. Thanks again, Luis. Have a good one. We'll see you at 1 p.m. on the midday.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, be sure to join Sharif and I during the midday, 1 p.m. sharp. Luis will be joining us once again. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the NS actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. Citigroup with a price target being lowered to $165. That's down from $185 by Jefferies. We're up about 0.9% here. Now, IBM, guys, getting the downgrade. Oppenheimer actually increasing its price target yesterday, but downgrading it, going from an outperform to a perform here. You're slightly positive this morning after a massive slide yesterday. Now, ARM Holdings also getting the downgrade, going from a buy to a hold, but increasing its price target as HSBC to $315. That's up from $255. They have 1.3%. Now, Allstate also getting the downgrade here, guys, going from a buy to a neutral, but holding price target here. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. JP Morgan at the top of our list with a neutral weight rating here, but a price target increase to 305. That's up from $295. Now, Goldman Sachs also getting the nod, guys. We're going to be increasing its price target to $1,325. That's up from $1,119 by Wells Fargo. Moving forward, we'll take a look at Bank of America getting the nod as well, too, guys. $69 price target. That's up from $67. Yes, Sharif, from Wells Fargo. And then AMC also getting the nod, going from a hold to a buy with a $3 price target by Texas Capital, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you, Joe. Texas Capital getting frisky, AMC. So 3 banks. It all makes sense, right? All the banks had pretty good earnings. Maybe like BAC a little bit more today, just kind of like yesterday as well. Nobody's surprised that IBM got a downgrade. You know, that cycle had to happen. Unfortunate timing on the Oppenheimer upgrade yesterday for them, but what can you do there? Yeah, like some BAC here today. It's like a very, very clean uptrend recently. You get the bump on earnings. It did the usual dip, and then didn't double tap 58 at the open, unfortunately. But the afternoon dip showed you $60. That gives one level to work off of. Dips into the prior highs at 60.5. Just want to be looking for long and take a couple of shots on BAC today, just to continue that trend. I mean, all the bank names are pretty good. Not here to hate on anybody. Just the chart of BAC absolutely looks the best. I peaked at AMC. I had a peak, but there doesn't seem to be that much happening on AMC. It'd be fun if it were to go, because it's kind of coiling at both major moving averages, but there's no volume on it right now. If there was any kind of volume, the level like right at $2 has some support down here, but you need volume to go. Unfortunately, AMC doesn't have it. So you got plenty of small cappers to look at. You don't need AMC.
I think this play yesterday on IBM, I mean, yesterday IBM was the talk of the town. We'll see if it can happen again here today. Yesterday's bottom of 215, right? I mean, we'll see if that plays. It's up to 220 right now. The NASDAQ's actually holding this PPI bid right there on a cooler than expected PPI yesterday on, the consumer side of things. We were already coming back in just a bit, but now it looks like we're trying to hold right back up to VWAP. So interesting spot here for the NASDAQ. That leads me, doesn't lead me to IBM, but just interesting that we're holding that bid. And so we could see right here, if IBM does sort of settle down here into the open, which it's trying to do. And, we've got a couple lines here that I don't mind. Like, I don't mind this 219 sort of pre-market area that's now, supported by the 200 period. You also have VWAP here at 220. So this software giant yesterday getting wrecked there, as we talked about SK Hynix and some of those memory names going higher because IBM gave a little sort of sneak peek into what their earnings might look like or will look like for the next quarter. And it revolves around a lack of CapEx spend onto their products and more back into memory and the data center build out. So we'll wait to see if IBM can finally catch that bid. I mean, they caught a little bit of a bid there yesterday. I mean, with a low being 214, we closed around to that 220 marker. It wasn't a horrible day it was a horrible day, but it wasn't a horrible like intraday as it actually started to pan out for them. We'll see if we can fly back to the upside. I like a 3-day rule for IBM, yesterday being the first, today being the second. So you get some downgrades coming today. Still nice to see it only down up 1.5%, which is pretty nice, and back to a really big key level there for IBM. So I said yesterday, I think if you started a position here in your Roth or your, some sort of a longer term play, I think you'd be okay with IBM. As far as a swing trade, let's give it 3 days, see if that bottom winds up holding there at 214. And if it does, then we can use that as our out and maybe try to get that, 20, 30% back up to the upside here, back into 283, 260, 280. I think that's a good possibility. And IBM trying to hold fort today as, hey, look, man, what goes up must come down. And we saw yesterday Palantir. I don't have it written down today. I mean, the sticky note's pretty full. I got 4 ideas on there. It's just yesterday's, the best idea I had was NVIDIA, and that was 205. It closes at 210. And then we had 122 written down here for Palantir, and that was before any of this sort of pre-market stuff happened. But they gave us that level there of 123, so we just missed it by about $1. We was hoping for a move down. It got hit there on the IBM news, and then it just took off, man, and actually closed pretty good. The market did fade back just a little bit there at the end of the day. So I think this is another name that we can have on our radar today. If it does dip down, we know there's buyers in Palantir. So this would be another name to look at with the market up half. This is up 3/4. So we like the strength that's being shown here in Palantir. Many people might not like the name, and I get it, right? I mean, Alex Karp is pretty polarizing, and then you do get what their business is involved in here, and that's where we go over to USO and we talk about sort of some of the threats that have been happening with the ceasefire. I think there's been 8 or 10 ceasefires that have been violated in the past couple of weeks, and you can see USO today still positive on the day with a nice little rebound there. We talked about this with Brian Shannon yesterday. It still hasn't made its complete move there, right? I mean, it's a nice smiley face. We like to buy those, but you are looking to break out through some sort of significant level, and that would be the 50-period moving average is 125. So we got to get back up there. Nice move. I'm actually looking to sell. I was hoping USO would be a little higher. I'm trying to get rid of my XLE and all that. I think it's been a pretty nice move back up here, and just get out of it and put the money to work somewhere else. I think it's been a good run up. Obviously for oil, if we can get out somewhere around that 50-period moving average, we'll take it. And even looking at an XLE, Valero has been pretty hot. There's been some names inside of this that have been obviously good there, and you're getting good value on an XOM or a CVX. But XLE, like I said, up in here into 58, 59, we're not doing too bad considering the high. And mind the split, considering the high was 63s, during the Iran sort of, that's even just late March, big move. Then we made that move back in May. So just looking to see if we can get somewhere around here, a little bit of a bump up there in the XLE. I think it's a nice trade. And what do you got over there?
Well, I saw a few people in the chat throwing Webull into.
Yeah, Robinhood's had a
A few people in the chat throwing Webull into.
Yeah, Robinhood's had a funny week.
Well, because Robinhood's been okay. Robinhood's been pretty solid. Like it's been a good bounce, and I know I've been talking more about it because I recently got in it. But let's be real, Webull, it might be back, baby. You broke the 200 SMA on the daily chart, and if I zoom out, this will go further back. But suffice to say, it's been a while. I don't have to zoom out for you guys to get that idea. But look at the break. You made a bottom, higher lows, $7.80 on Webull. This is a daily chart, so obviously a break on a daily chart, it doesn't really matter that as much for a day trade because you need to see buyers above that level when we get here today and holding. But if you close above 780, I think you got something here on Webull to really start going again. I'm not at the point, you're literally trying to hold it today. If it were to fade today, that would be a failure of the 200 period moving average, but I think it could be close to getting back into some Webull shares because I do like that. I do like this potential break happening on Bull. But we'll see. I just threw up the visualizer to have an idea of what everyone is looking at here in our chat. And by the way, if you're not in the chat, do yourself a favor. If you're listening to my voice right now, hit that subscribe button and get into the chat so you can ask questions, so you can participate in the community. And I'm talking to everyone. I don't care where you are. Like, just get in there. And TikTok, we monitor the chat there as well so we can engage with everybody. But if you go $ in your symbol, then it can pop up on this. See PayPal, see VIVS, see SpaceX, Luis. So everyone's shouting out Luis by putting him in here. Obviously, that's not an actual stock. SoFi makes it in here. Webull, we were just mentioning. SK Hynix. AHR, huge mover, big time mover on earnings. ASML. So all the names that would make some sense here for sure. But led by VIVS, that small capper, which that positive Eli Lilly story and some revenue growth. So yeah, a lot to watch. We'll go back up to the desk. Make sure, remember those dollar signs?
Randy here. Thanks, Randy.
And Randy in the house with a coffee refill.
Apparently, the air quality is way worse down here than it is up north.
Really? Because I smelled it worse coming out of my door.
Yeah, you're not. Well, you're not.
But I'm not that. I'm
not
that
north,
far north.
Really. You're just you're whatever 40 minutes or so, or 30 minutes away from here, but. Thunder Bay, and the air quality is not great. We woke up to smoke. You can smell it outside. The forest fires. We woke up to smoke. You can smell it outside. The forest fires are absolutely unbelievable just north of the city right now. But apparently, I was just looking it up. We have my family, Marissa's family's from North Bay. Their air quality is a 2, which is not that bad. We're a 6 down here.
I thought we hit 7.
So maybe we hit 7.
I think they're saying it's going to be like 9 in the evening. Like it's going to be worse.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, people in New York, everything, the same old stuff there. So yeah, man. I mean, it's bad. It's not nice outside. That's for sure. And it's going to be muggy again. Another 110 degrees or something here today in Toronto. So it's not great with really poor air quality. So stay inside if you can here today if you're in the Southern Ontario or basically anywhere that's affected by it.
Especially if you're older, like
it'd be pretty nasty. Yeah. Out there. I'll find it on the weather map, but let's go back over to the desk.
A couple different stories to talk about here. For one, I also just want to mention quickly the Fed. So Feds Williams, this is the president of the New York Fed Bank. He's saying that there are, quote, encouraging reasons to expect that inflation has peaked and should edge down in coming quarters. Now, following actually kind of cautious talk, both from Fed Chair Walsh, but also the day prior from Fed's Waller, this is actually some of the most, I don't want to say dovish, but least cautious talk I've heard from a Fed speaker in a while. He also said that shelter inflation should remain, quote, on the downward path, and that he expects overall inflation to hit 3.25% by the end of the year, which would be a little bit of a downtick. So not a bad look here from Feds Williams. Let's talk about INTC because Intel got a little bit name dropped here by ASML, suggesting the companies are working together here.
They are, Adara. They're successfully using the advanced high NA EUV, which stands for high numerical aperture extreme ultraviolet lithography technology on its 18A node. Specifically, the Core Ultra 3 series processors, which is codenamed, we've talked a lot about this, Panther Lake. That's what's being used there. The deployment serves as, of course, a key milestone for that specific machine, and it also gives both companies crucial data because this is a new machine as well as a new node for Intel. Separately, Adara, there was Rosenblatt, Kevin Cassidy. He chimed in on Intel. He kept the $65 price target. Sorry, he increased from 50 to 65. My mistake there. But he keeps the sell rating. And he said, look, Intel should benefit from strong CPU demand, but as we've been talking a lot about it, their yields continue to suffer. They have about, low yields, especially on their more advanced nodes. And so that will keep the amount of inventory that they're able to give some of their clients a little bit lower. So that top line revenue number may not go up as much. So we'll have to wait and see, but good luck for Intel.
Yeah, we'll talk more about ASML, of course, during the rundown, but I want to mention another earnings report we're not going to get to on the rundown. AEHR, this thing is up, I think I saw about 30%, and really solid report here for AEHR, strong guidance as well.
No question about it. Small company, of course, $18.8 million in revenue. That is a 33% year-over-year growth. $1.4 million in GAAP net income, net loss above $2.9 million the year prior. They projected 27 revenue to be between $130 to $150 million. Got to tell you the truth, Adara, not a name I keep my eye closely on. Smaller company.
Yeah, again, smaller company, but big move for AEHR. Are you guys watching this name or Intel today?
Intel, yes. AEHR, here's the thing with AEHR. It's on an earnings day, it's done 380,000 shares in the pre-market. $100 stock, $97 stock, sorry, and it's got a bit of a spread. It doesn't, never traded it before, but it doesn't look the most liquid to me, obviously. But it does, the chart looks fantastic. Understand that this is a early growth kind of name, so it is gonna fly around. Most things about it look interesting. Like that 95 level is the 50 period, then you have a consolidation above like the post-market levels. All that looks good. But I think with the market looking bullish, if we can take that 30,000, the ASML story is bullish, showed some bullishness for Intel there, because if they're finally stepping their game up stepping their game up, they're going to be able to get over the hurdle manufacturing the most advanced chips. That's what it's going to take to onboard the bigger clients and keep them, because they've been lagging behind. Obviously everyone lags behind TSM, but them and Samsung for a while. I think this is a good positive step for them. I don't know if we're going to see dip into prior close at 108. I got 08 written down on the iPad, so it could be a find trend on Intel kind of day, as opposed to getting any kind of a dip buy. I want to get this super chat up here if we could, because shout out to Matthias here, up 5 bills on poly-market crypto bet. Secure profit 300, running profit. If we get 66 today, you're up 1,600. 6,600 in Bitcoin. 66,000, sorry, in Bitcoin, you're up 1,600. Yeah, IBIT was a strong runner, and it is consolidating. Joey Options had it on his list for sure, and we just broke. So we're at 65.1. It just broke 65,000, so you're getting pretty close. It's looking a little strong relative to the market, just outpacing the NASDAQ by a small bit. But Bitcoin, another early start, another good start on a potential breakout. But 66 and 68 are key levels of resistance, but I like the start of it already.
Yeah, I'm not a trading guy here. I'm another kind of content guy here. And look at this, man. Look at the weather network right here. This is what we're talking about. This is the smoke, and what's been coming down. It's not looking great. You hit play here, and you guys in New York, here it is, Buffalo. Look, it's coming right now. Like, it's going to be worse. This is into Thursday. It's not projected. Now, hopefully this is all wrong, but these fires aren't under control, and it's getting worse and worse. So coming into Pittsburgh, coming into Ohio and everything, and then for the weekend, we're all good, but you guys, unfortunately, down there. So just talking about, what's been happening right now. Look at all these, there's tons of forest. And forest fires, look, I mean, it's not like they're not, they happen. Here's Utah over here, but there's some major ones apparently just absolutely ripping through right now. Shout out to my good friends. We had a great time in Minneapolis when we were there back in May. And what's up to my boys and everybody there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, coming through again. And it's just, it's not great. This is the thing when people look at Toronto, like, this is America up here. As you can clearly see that Toronto still, this is why we don't have those igloos and all that kind of stuff, cruising around here. As you just look, in line with here, Milwaukee, a little south of Minneapolis. What's up, Fargo? As you continue to go on, through to see where, just a little bit of a geography lesson here. Holy shit, there's a lot of forest fires happening right now. But as you go, this is Toronto, right? Boise. What's up, Boise? How you doing? We're on the same, path line as you guys there. But anyways, it doesn't look good. I just wanted to show that to everybody. Again, it should be a pretty interesting days, unfortunately,
very
sort of the Northeast there. Well, I just showed you even to the Northwest there as well. So Central, not good right now. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about it. Just wanted to show you guys that. But yeah, the NASDAQ, man, NASDAQ, SP 500, everything, to the right there, up and to the right, and it's still going. So there goes the SPY. Everything's starting to make some nice moves here. Will we get to all-time highs today on the S&P 500? My guess is potentially yes. I mean, that's 760 right here on the SPY. So we don't have too much more to go. And then we're there. So I like what we're seeing here with the S&P 500. I like what we're seeing with the NASDAQ. All-time highs incoming, and this is not on the back of the AI race right now, right? This is on the back of bank names. It's on the back of industrials. We've got, some of the energy space starting to kick back up again. So it's actually really nice to see that there's a little bit of a broadening out. And it's been a broadening out trade for a while. It hasn't necessarily only been the NASDAQ that's been running high, right, and running hot. It's the S&P 500. It's the Dow. All of those. The Dow was clocked yesterday because of IBM.
Yeah.
But still, the Dow has been racing to all-time highs. Warren Buffett. I mean, look, the guy's made a lot of money. The guy's 95 years old and talking on some other station today. And the thing about he was mentioning right now with the Dow Jones at 52,000, he was talking about making his first investment when it was at 100. So, it's just like, the appreciation of what the Dow's been doing since its invention. I mean, this has just been an absolute monster and continues to go that way. It's not properly weighted. It's not the most, best way to get involved in all of the market, but the Dow continues to scream higher. And, you're bananas over there. What was the... Oh, shakshuka. Every time I'm wearing some sort of white shirt, it's always shakshuka.
They know. Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he struck out 3 guys, right? Didn't he actually? Or did he only pitch 1?
He struck out the side.
Yeah.
He only pitched the 1 inning.
Yeah, that makes sense there.
You need to have something to cheer for, right?
Yeah, I didn't see any. I was out all night.
Now, the unfortunate thing was Tampa lost their best player.
Oh, their hand?
98 miles an hour to the hand.
Yeah. Was it broken hand or?
Well, I haven't seen an update, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
I thought the X-rays came back negative. So
I hope so.
I don't think.
You don't want to see someone get hurt in an exhibition game. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to see that. You know what's crazy? You were just talking about the markets to the upside. Oddly enough, as we just ticked higher, SK Hynix, probably the blowout stock of yesterday, heads lower. So that actually broke the lows as the markets were going higher. It was an absolute barn burner to the upside, and something I know we're going to talk about as we get into our watch list. So without further ado, let's get up to that desk, see what the futures are doing, and get into our free watch list.
751 3/4, guys, is where we closed out on the SPY. And as Sean was mentioning, we are now 0.75% from all-time highs, having hit those all-time highs back on the 2nd of June. We're pretty close. Let's see if we can get through, first and foremost, that area high that we got back into on the 10th. That's 755. That's going to be our first level of resistance. We start selling off, Adara. We're a little bit ahead of yesterday's close. So instead of saying 750 as support, we're looking at 751 3/4 as support.
Neil mentioned SK Hynix, which is in fact on our rundown, and you can check out what might be on our rundown with this free Trader TV Live watch list. Basically, this covers everything you need to know to tackle the market with confidence. We've got earnings and economic events on watch. You've got stocks that made big moves the prior day that we could be watching today, stocks that are gapping up or down pre-market or post-market, everything you need to know to get into the day. And let's talk about a name that gapped up in a massive way, and that's PYPL, PayPal. As we've mentioned a couple times now, reportedly getting a $53 billion buyout offer from some big firms.
Yeah, joint bid, right? We talked about that. Stripe and the private equity firm Advent International, they're jointly offering $60.50 a share. And as Adira mentioned, $53 billion total bid. $50 billion of that $53 billion is bank loans. So this new entity, if it goes through, will be saddled with a lot of debt, restricting free cash flow, as we spoke about at the top. But guys, $60.50, although it is a 28% premium to yesterday's close, it's a drop in the bucket compared to some historical valuations. At $60.50, the company would be valued, again, $53 billion, but that's an 84% haircut from the $360 billion this company was worth during the pandemic. So a lot of articles that I read this morning say that institutional shareholders who have been in this for a while, as well as the board, may not recommend shareholders vote for this. So we're going to have to wait and see if this ends up being a more prolonged proxy war, or whether there has to be another bidder to push the price up. And they're not going to split up the company. So as we know, these two companies have nothing to do with each other. Stripe being decentralized finance, sort of fintech, and Advent being, just regular private equity. They're going to maintain the two companies together, which does raise the stakes a little bit here, because we don't know how this is going to operate, if it's going to be efficient or what. And last but not least, Adair, we talked about Enrique Lores, his attempt to execute a high-stakes 3-segment corporate restructuring, saving about $1.5 billion. That whole plan for this new PayPal CEO is now up in the air.
How are you guys feeling about PYPL today?
Yeah, I'm leaning for looking for a place to fade it. It's just a matter of where. Like, VWAP's a bit arbitrary, because if there is no bidding, what's your thing? If there is no bidding war, again, this has not been accepted and approved by the board. So this isn't some case of at some future date you're getting 60-50. Like, there's a process that has to happen before you get that. And then it's a totally different trade, because then you would just be talking about the time value of money and all that kind of stuff, and that would be the normal. But that's not what PayPal is going to be today. So in every minute that goes by that you don't get a response, I just feel like you're going to have some profit taking in this. So, was talking about earlier the pre-market high, but there's already some room off of VWAP starting to go. So I think it could end up just being a VWAP off the open trade. It breaks VWAP, wait for the high kind of deal. Otherwise, don't touch it. And then the personal, this is I'm getting out of PayPal. So I'm just taking it here, and I will no longer be a shareholder of PayPal. I feel like it presented you with a pretty in out in this particular case. Sometimes you hold on to something, and part of the reason was there was deal speculation before you get the announcement. I don't feel the need to wait around. You can just take it and try to put the money elsewhere. Like, maybe I can buy a little more IBM if I happen to like that, or make a decision. Maybe that Weeble. I'll have to make that decision after we get the cash.
I was going to say, you better get out soon. It's trying to break right now down through 56. So, I was just saying to Neil, I was muted there. You got to get out soon, and breaking back down through 56. We'll see what winds up happening. High of the day, 57. So it's still in this dollar range here, back and forth. So we'll wait to see what happens with PayPal today. I like the idea that Stripe is taking these guys out. Stripe's one of those names that's supposed to come public this year. I don't know if it's going to anymore. And I just think, the more accounts they have underneath them, the, more interest their IPO becomes. And I don't know. I like the idea, and I think it does happen. So if that rumored buyout price is around $60, Neil can do whatever he wants, but I think that I would probably wait for that. And I think that if you got some better ideas right now where you can get 10%, then fine. But I like PayPal. I think this deal maybe works, maybe it doesn't. And if they come out and deny everything, you could float back down into the downside one more time. But I still like PayPal for the Stripe IPO. So I still think that there's some upside here. And if you sell today, I don't know if that's going to be the right move or not, but up into the 66-70 area is where I think PayPal should probably go. And hey, man, maybe if they come out and say, nah, we don't like it, maybe they do get another bid that's coming through, right? So yeah, I like PayPal here today. Let's let it open up before we get excited about it. But really reasons to get excited, up 20%, you got to like that. Especially if you're a dip buyer down into here. There it goes, PayPal breaking through the 200 period moving average. So yeah, you got to like the stock, and I think there's probably more to come to the upside here.
Let's take a look here at ASML. This name initially had a really strong reaction to its earnings report, now hanging out near pre-market lows, but good report and strong guidance for this chip name out of Europe.
Yeah, well, we've seen the price action subsequent to earnings, Adair, on ASML. Nothing surprising here, but keep your eye on this one in the days and weeks ahead. Very, very good report. 9.3 billion euros in revenue, well ahead of the 8.8 expected. Profit, 2.9 billion euros, beating easily the 2.6 billion euros expected. They're also increasing full year sales, 43 to 45 billion euros for 2026. Guys, that is a marked increase from the prior guide. They were guiding 36 to 40 billion euros for full year 26. Now it's in the mid 40s at the high end. They're also highlighting extremely strong order, both for the EUV and the DUV. So, the DUV more important here in terms of, diversification, as they're allowed to sell deep ultraviolet to China. Not so, of course, for the EUV. They plan on increasing capacity by about 30%. So we'll have to see if that comes with corollary CapEx expenditures to be able to meet that increasing production capacity, Adara. But good report, and a corollary one with Intel at that as well.
How's the chip sector looking for you guys this morning?
Hey, they're already doing some profit taking on ASML, but the story with the Intel and the EUV is a good headline for Intel. I mean, ultimately, and if we get this dip, which it seems like we're getting a bit of a dip, the market's at 30,000 level, so. Well, the NASDAQ is at that 30,000 and not really breaking through, so a chance for a dip. Prior high sit at 9s, but the prior close was at the 8 level. It is a bit of a trend break here on that positive story. You didn't really break the 100, kind of felt like 90 underneath 100 was going to be the support, but we bounced in front. You got a one-day continuation. The steps, taking the steps would just be returning to this support at 8, and it's kind of like a dip and go kind of deal. If you lose and go red on Intel, it's not one that I would want to particularly fight unless you get some kind of a crazy trend break. So yeah, that's the chip name I'm going to be looking at. With regards to ASML, I mean, it just kind of just keeps churning along, but it hasn't been like super explosive. It's pulling back off of the highs going into that positive print. 3-day rule here. If they take this report and lose the 50 period, there'd be like some concern, because that's not what you want to see coming off of a strong report. And it is at least threatening it. You can't ignore that fact, because it's been riding the 50 period for the last quarter or so. And it's at least threatening to lose it, but I still think it should bounce.
Look, I want to thank everybody. Like, I just put this out 6 minutes ago, almost 2,000 views. So I want to say thank you. I mean, the sticky note is really starting to ramp up. So I want to thank everybody for continuing to support it, right? I mean, it's been something that I've been doing since day one. I actually have a repository of sticky notes here. Let's randomly pick one out here and see what it says. Okay, so this says Apple. Here we go. This is a random one. I wish I would have put the dates on them. This says Apple long at $245 on iPhone demand. Intel long at $29 right there. SoFi 29 long. Wow, when was this? And then RGBTI, QBTS, and IonQ. Wait for developments here in the quantum space. So that was one of those notes. We've been doing the sticky note since the start of the show, when you guys started asking for, some ideas that we have as traders. So there it is, man. There's a lot of sticky notes in there. I was thinking about doing something with them at some point, but all right, Intel 108 long. I like it, man. That collab there with the new machinery on ASML, finally starting to get Intel to that next step in their chip making. So right there, Intel 108 long. So that's exactly the trade that I'm going to be waiting for and trying to sit on my hands a little bit until that does come in, right? I mean, the fade on Intel is real, I believe. Like we're down almost now, 25% from its highs. So you're in bear territory for Intel, but that's kind of a tough thing to say. I think like the bear territory, all that kind of stuff is very over pronounced these days, because you're getting like, in 2 days that could be corrected. Like you can literally look at IBM, look at some of these, even ASML up a couple of percent points again here today, right? But at the end of the day, you've fallen back into this $100 level. I like the report. Let's see if it winds up holding. Intel's been a little bit of a tough trade, I think, because it's for me, I've been biased short. So if I kind of like don't hit it there, I haven't been playing the long recently. So we'll have to wait to see how it pans out. But yesterday's close in there around 107.50. So if it does come into this 108, let's give it at least 50 cents. So that's how my mind thinks. And yesterday we did that video at 2 o'clock, and we were talking about like how many shares, what's your stop loss, this and that. So that's the kind of stuff that goes through my head right now on Intel. Let's wait to see if we get a 108, and then let's use this 107.50-ish. Maybe it could even be 107 as our out. So I'm thinking at least a 50-cent hit there for Intel if it does come in, because yesterday, and we don't have NVIDIA on here, but we can talk about it. We will be talking about it. This was on the sticky note as the #1 trade yesterday, and it was down at 204. So the Intel, like I wrote that down when we were at 207, in the pre-market up here, and then whoosh all the way to the downside. And unfortunately, it breaks that 205. We had 205 written down, and it gets into 204, which is the bottom, and then we take off $8. You know, so it was a monster trade, but at the end of the day, you screw up because you're taking the 205, and we did get out of 204.50. We saw the bottom and we bought it back in. But if I avoid that first sort of 15 minutes there, and I talked about yesterday on the lesson, avoid the first 5 minutes, but like, you know, sometimes, especially in these markets, you got to give it maybe a little bit more time. So just to talk about Intel, that's what I'm going to try to do. Let's just wait to see if this 08 is a thing and maybe not stand there and take it. Let's just wait to see what happens. But I like this 08 to 07 area here on Intel, 07 being very low. So if we can get into 08, hold it, we'll go long, and then maybe use our 07s as a stop spot. But it's happening again. You know, this happened yesterday. We came upside, we made some highs into some key levels there, and then we just dropped all the way back in to yesterday to the CPI level and bumped back up. So this is where we were pre-PPI today, producer price index, and now we'll wait to see if we can get a little bit of a comeback here once we drop. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit more to see if these levels do hold once again, but it feels like it's Groundhog Day all over again, and I am seeing my shadow. So I got to go back to sleep, man. I'm tired today. Yeah, didn't get to bed till about 1 o'clock yesterday, which is fine. You know, doing busy things, you know. We didn't get back from the diamond till 10:45, so late nights there. Hey, man, it's father life there, Sharif. I hope one day you and Joseph can join us in that life there, Sharif. It's
zoom in on Joe.
It's the best life. And if
No, of course it is.
If you don't, well, I mean, that's what I'm trying to get these guys part of it, you know. But
nah, man, you guys are gonna get a round of applause from me every time for that, man.
Yeah, man, it's been tough. Like, you know, raising 3 kids living in Toronto on one income has been the part of it, but it's always been a blast to see these kids go through what they go through, right? And so having 3 of them is something.
Keeps you young.
My eldest has been around here the last couple of days.
Yeah, but he was on the way out. I was able to see him. I did want to mention we do have another mover here, and I want to thank you for the super chat here, Tisha, because he's got. Sorry. Sharif, I know, was going to have this one. I shouldn't say he has it on his radar, but I'm sure he's going to have it on the radar. ELVA, there is a story here. They have a commercial relationship with Amazon, lithium-ion battery company here. So up 68% and still going. There's always tons of them, but a legitimate deal here. I didn't see any number terms on it, but yeah, it didn't really have any numbers. You'd have to read the entire article. But still, good time, good runner. 5 million in shares volume already, and most of it in the last few minutes. So thank you for the super chat. Looks like a pretty good one. And if that's your game, the pre-market, the early action, sometimes is where you get your best plays. Definitely not a small capper next on the list. The exact opposite of a small cap gapper with these 2 names.
Yeah, Apple and Alibaba, we've been hearing for a while now that these companies would be working together on AI integration for Apple devices in China. Looks like the China cyberspace regulator finally gave them the all clear.
That's the kind of business you have to do in China, Dara. I mean, you want to do business there, you're going to have a local partner, and this is no different whether you're Apple or NVIDIA or whoever else. So the headline is that they approved Apple Intelligence for release in China. It's going to be based on Alibaba's Qwen AI model, and it's going to feature all the on-device features for Apple. It's going to be running on-device as well as the cloud. It gives Apple, you know, the world access to the world's largest smartphone market, but it also gives Baba a new runway for its Qwen model. So, you know, for both companies, it's quite fitting. But there's also another AI headline for Apple. This one is a few days old. We did report it about yesterday, but I read this one over the weekend that they are dealing or continuing to speak to Prism ML, which is a company who took a large language model, let's say about 54 gigabytes, and they were able to compress it down to about 4 gigabytes so that it can run on device. So think of something like maybe a Chat 4.0 not maybe the most frontier models, but good enough to be able to run on device. Now, the good thing about this is you didn't have any loss in usage. You didn't have any parameters that were removed. So all the information that was included in the original LLM would be included in this small compressed 4 GB one. But the deal hasn't been struck yet, Adara. Let's see if it actually gets done.
Yeah, Alibaba and Apple. Do you guys have any thoughts on these names?
Yeah, look, like Apple here, but Alibaba was selling off most of the morning, actually catching a bit of a bid is Alibaba. Apple didn't quite make the cut for the top names, just because of the inside price action. Above 318 looks much more interesting. I think if it does break out to 318, I think that's one of the names that you want to just join and try to continue the party. But look what happened when it did. If the first 15-minute candle looks like this again, it's not a chase. I think you got to be a little bit patient, because you want to see it put in a higher low if it does the same thing. It didn't quite, like I said, didn't quite make the list. I got, as I said, with PayPal and SpaceX. We haven't even really talked too much about SpaceX, and I guess we're not going to on the list. But yeah, there's too few names. There's too many names to be looking at this morning and not enough action. I still think this is a good story for Apple, and it's going to be a boringly good stock. If it wasn't so, and it's not expensive, but if it wasn't so much of a value for some of the other Mag 7 names right now, I think Apple would have already held through the high and broken a little bit further. But when you were able to get NVIDIA at what seems like a pretty good discount to the overall market, and then of course with Meta and to a certain extent Microsoft, some of that can be why you're getting a checkup in Apple here, and it's just consolidating before it really makes its next run.
All right, those of you asking about the sticky note, I'll put it back into the chat. You guys can go have a quick look at that. Right now, I don't have Alibaba or Apple written on it, but it is nice to see Alibaba taking out those highs that we had just made not too long ago on the month here into 115 and taking those out. So, that was a nice little level there. And then now you get this talk, and it's exactly what I've been saying, even when it was falling back in, about how we like the stock because of that exact reason about how their large language models just going to be able to be produced cheaper over there. And now with Quen, starting to get that feeling going. Apple, we know, has been the best consumer product of all time, the largest install base of all time, not getting any smaller, growing actually, right? Their service is growing. So as AI, and I just downloaded iOS 27 now, thanks to Sharif for that suggestion there. So I'll mess around with that a little bit here today. But yeah, so, getting ready for Alibaba to actually explode back to the upside. What a great level that was down here at $100. I don't know if we're going to, it's ridiculous to say you're never going to get another opportunity to get it down here, but I don't know if you're going to get another opportunity anytime soon. Seems like they have a lot of levers right now in Alibaba to the upside. Yeah, I like it. And we don't even have really a deal in China yet or anything. So, we heard about the NVIDIA China connection. So again, if you're going to give more power to some of these guys to produce bigger and better things, Alibaba will be right on top of everything. So I like Alibaba. It's a great play for those of you that are interested in investing in China. And I think it's probably the safest Chinese play. If you really wanted something safe, which is why I called this up, FXI is the China Tech ETF, basically the top 100 names there. So you can check that out. KWeb is the internet-related plays there. It actually says China Inter. I don't know, but anyways, it's internet plays. So there we go. I guess that's what Inter means. But yeah, the KWeb as well. Nice upside play there. So KWeb, FXI, Alibaba. You have my clearance to go ahead, and not that you need it, but to buy all of these names, especially the ETF. It's just, you got to understand that there is the risk there in China when they don't have the same regulation that we do over here. Anything can happen at the drop of a hat. And we do have a volatile administration, obviously, in the United States. But right now, their focus does not appear to be in China. So, they had that whole delegation go over there. I don't know if they did anything other than eat some burgers on Air Force One. But it was a nice move up. Jensen came back relatively happy, but there wasn't too many deals done. So I think FXI does have a possibility of blasting higher here, especially with positive news coming from China. We just wait for that. So yeah, I like Alibaba. That would be my first choice in the Chinese space.
Let's talk about another name that has a home listing in Asia, and that's going to be SKHY, SK Hynix, as you guys can tell from the title and the rundown. fourth day trading in the U.S., but it's really interesting. What we're seeing pre-market from SK Hynix is markedly different from what it did overnight with that native listing in South Korea.
You're absolutely right. What it did rip 27% yesterday, right, to the high side. So my thinking is, and this is just speculation, Nadera, that, you know, we kind of led the charge, sold and traded. It went up 8%. And because we went up 27% yesterday, we are now down, I believe, 7 1/3. Maybe some profit taking, hard to know. There's very little in the way of price discovery on this because it's so new. But I didn't really see any specific headline, you know, that would move the memory names today, just more volatility.
It'll be interesting to continue to see if this trades on its own or if it leads or responds to the native South Korean listing. Regardless, SKHY, is that in play for you guys today?
You know, yesterday, obviously, this was a crazy runner. You know, and really, the IPO day is a bit of a different beast. The opening trade was fantastic, shorts in the afternoon. So momentum standpoint, afternoon worked. And then 2 days ago, it's like 4 or 5 multiple scalp opportunities that were just, you know, there were good places to find shorts on trend breaks. These for myself, like early, a little bit later, late in the day. It just gave you these trend break plays. That was not happening on SK Hynix. Like, there were small moves back in, but it was just all trend in one direction. I want to look to try to join that instead of looking reversions. So if we get any hold, sit out the opening range potentially and just wait for it to set something up off the volume weighted average price. Right now, that looks like a short, but I'm not married to that notion whatsoever. Like, if it just like breaks out and the opening range holds higher, then join the trend as opposed to look for the reversion. That worked really well 2 days ago. But yesterday, I'd look for more of a repeat of yesterday.
Yeah, shout out right there to everybody there on TikTok. What's up, Peter? Thank you again for all of the super chats. There it is right there. Another one coming in from Peter right there, $1.48. We want to give a big shout out to everybody that is watching us on TikTok, on YouTube, everywhere, man. Adam James abroad. Shout out to Peter over there. Anybody else? Oh, I just opened this up right now. Actually, I had it open, but I popped it out from our other one. Here it is. Here it is. Let me show this to you.
Gold Pro Master.
Yeah, right there. Gold Pro Master also in here as well. Peter again. So, you know, there's Bravely. Thank you so much for everything that everybody is providing to us every single day. And again, I always want to say thank you to everybody for the support, you know, of the Sticky Note and of some of our watch lists. Make sure you go grab our watch list. The link is in description. You can also get Sharif's morning note that has all of these names talked about in much greater detail than what Neil or I talk about, obviously, there with Sharif. So go grab Sharif's morning note. But yeah, I have SK Hynix, man. We didn't start trading that till I think it was around 10 o'clock or so yesterday, but we were trying to go short that name off of 180 or so. And right now, we're going to go long. So pulling back after a 27% rally there, watch the level and play the long. I don't think there's too much more to deal with right here with a PE of around 5 or 6 on SK Hynix. Definitely worth looking at. And look, again, we wrote this down earlier on today on the note when it was around 183, falling into 180. Let's see if it winds up holding. The only problem with me right now on that, well, a lot of problems, but the only problem with trading right now is breaking above VWAP and holding that. So I'm not sure. I'm not in love with this 180 anymore, but it's at a level that we want to watch out for. So SK Hynix, nice move yesterday. If you're looking at the chart, this is where we sort of held down here at 180. Then there's the pop up through into 194, 195 yesterday. SK Hynix was my best trade of the month, obviously on the IPO, the listing, and we'll wait to see if we can double that up today and make a little bit of cash on SK Hynix. Definitely, I like the stock. We don't have SpaceX on there, but you know, SpaceX is again on the note today of 135. I mean, we actually ran this thing perfectly yesterday. Like honestly, man, it was a oh, I don't have the stream deck up. It was an oh my god type of thing there yesterday. Yeah, and a money thing too. What's up, morning, y'all? What's up, DJ Vinny? That must be from TikTok as well. The 7 center over there. Thank you, DJ Vinny. Spin those beats, my guy, on those phones, man. Turn that up today as we read 3 minutes into the open. But right there, we shorted this level yesterday, and like I said, man, this went right into the pocket. It turned out to be one of the top stocks for us on the day, and we didn't even start it till 3 o'clock. So there was a nice move down. It just goes to show you, man, be patient, wait for your levels, and you'll be okay. I wrote down 135, of course. That's the IPO price that everybody, including Kevin O'Leary, got in at. So we'll have to wait to see 135. I remember when that guy was on the show, and it was like, man, you know, if you get that locate for a decent amount. It went up to 225, and boy, oh boy, would that been a great opportunity to sell it. So here we go, man. SpaceX with just a couple minutes before the opening bell. We got to go back to the desk, but I do want to show you this before we go back. Only one more story, Lucid. Lucid was another stock yesterday that all of a sudden became my #1 stock, and we didn't trade that until this story popped either. But there it is, IBM with a nice buy. We can see if that starts going. PayPal with the sell. We said get out of that one ASAP if you can. We'll wait to see what happens on PayPal, although I still think that $60 holds, so we'll wait to see what's going on there with PayPal. Oracle on the buy side as well today. So a few interesting names here that we got to look at. I actually like that PayPal trade. We'll have to look at it, let it settle down a little bit, and we'll get into PayPal. I know we've already discussed it. We'll discuss that as this market opens up. Thank you to everybody watching worldwide. I mean, that's ultimately, thank you, Peter, everybody else that sent in some of those super chats. And here's Tommy Gunn. Hey, Tommy Gunn, right there. Guess what's coming up next, Tommy? If you look on the right, you can see it right there. It is Lucid. DJ Vinny, yeah, spin those beats, my guy. Let's go back over to the desk, and I'm sure Sharif's going clubbing at some point.
Let's talk about LCID here. This name moved about 6 hours after a report came out suggesting they were going private or filing for bankruptcy. They denied it. Lots of herky-jerky action on this stock.
Yeah, Tommy Gunn's the biggest trader in the Rocky series, by the way, guys. Never be like Tommy Gunn. 50% intraday drop yesterday for Lucid. Frantic volatility halts. Their immediate denial of anything Chapter 11 related. But guys, it doesn't make sense given their finances, okay? Because just a few days, I'm talking July 6th of this year, they took out $800 million from a term loan that they were provided by one of the Saudi public investment funds affiliates. So their liquidity right now is about $4.7 billion, all right? So they don't have a money problem. This is a public company. We know how much money they have. But they are looking at restructuring. All right, so let's just go ahead.
To you by VFS. Shout out to VinFast. Always want to shout them out for sure. Look, obviously at the open, you can be watching USO break the HOD. So oil is headed higher. We did have that PPI print that came, it was good, and the revisions were lower as well. But USO kind of leading the way to the upside. Unfortunately, we'll go just very quickly on Lucid. It's not really doing much in here. If it dips again today, I'm going to be playing in Rivian again, because when Rivian made the bottom, it was fantastic, 75 and then 17.10, but it doesn't seem like it wants to go down at all. SLV is something I want to short pops in if the market is strong, so this is starting to bounce off VWAP. I like the 53.25 if it gets up there, but so far, at least a little bit quiet off of the open.
So pretty much every stock I wrote down as a trade idea has come right into the levels. It's just, I'm trying to be patient today, sit on my hands for a couple more minutes. There's Intel 108. It's what we liked. We talked about between 107 to 108 right there. Intel's pulling back in. I'm not pulling the trigger yet. You know, we've done this many times before. And there it is at 8. So that's coming right back in. My guy SK Hynix right here has pulled right back in into 180. This is the level that we had liked as well. SK Hynix goes up to 182 and then comes right back in again there. Yeah, it's camp day today. So every coffee you buy, I think $1 or something goes towards Tim Hortons camp. So right there, Randy just went and grabbed a coffee. So that's nice of you, Randy, to do that over there at Tim Hortons. But SK Hynix right now dropping back into 180 there. And I think that's going to be a good level. And I think this is going to be a good level as well. But 931, a little early to get into anything, in my opinion.
Amazon big pop.
Just based on what and I just got in there. This is a different story, I believe. Anyways, there's Lucid just popped in. So we wrote down 480. I'm going to put in a stop at 486 again and just see if we can run this for the rest of, not the day, but we'll take a first position here on Lucid and see what, there it goes. There it goes, in and out. So, you know, we're not, we didn't take anything. We had 2 units there. We'll take 6 cents. You know, yesterday we ran that, and we'll give back, I guess, 20% of what we made there yesterday early, but a quick little hitter right there on Lucid. And this is part of the reason, right? I mean, you don't want to necessarily jump into things immediately, but Lucid going up to $5 could be interesting as they have refuted, as Sharif was trying to get out there. We ran out of time, but that report now baking back through $5. There goes Lucid, and that's why you get in and out quick time. You know, last thing you want to do is be sitting on here. So I just lost a cup of coffee, so I guess I need Randy to buy me one. Right here, 108, trying to hold right now on Intel. That might be my next play coming through right now. So yeah.
Amazon's the one that made the bounce off the open, not bounce, break off the open. 250 clean break on Amazon. Obviously, this wasn't necessarily at the front of everyone's list, but there's no news on Amazon here. Thank you, Adara, for throwing that in. But big time mover, 1.5% doesn't seem like a whole lot, but off of this open, when it's sideways action, it certainly does. Still like that fade in silver. We're not going to get VWAP on PayPal. PayPal is already, it's only up 13% now.
Yep.
See, remember, it's not a firm deal yet. There could still be a bidding war. At some point, it could drop far enough that I look in the other direction. SpaceX, that hasn't popped into any resistance levels. It's literally not moving as we speak, so it's very quiet. I did have 5 on Lucid, but I don't want it right away. I was hoping this would go down, and then I could play sympathy long again on Rivian. But it's into that void that we liked in the afternoon, which was right up in here. 530 was the first bounce rejected when this story came out. So 5 to 530, I would look for some kind of reversion. Like, is it stronger? It's one thing to come all the way back. Is it actually stronger than it was before this story? That's the question. That's what I would be questioning here. Like, why would it be higher when there's still this lingering? So if it does get into 530, that's where I would look for the first salvo. And I might end up, we might end up getting this SLV short shortly if it gets into that 53. Already putting in some lower highs as we speak. So I'm just going to get an offer in front of 53.
All right, we'll make back a little bit here, obviously, as we finally, we just following our our sticky note there, and we take it. And it was hopefully going to be a good trade here with Intel. We tried to give it a little bit of room. We marked down 108, but in the pre-market we sort of talked about potentially coming in right into these levels, right into there, 107. So we wind up taking it at 107.50, giving it a little bit of room to go right now. SK Hynix and first of all, let's go, man. It's Intel, baby, and there it goes, man. This is going to be a good one. I don't know what to tell you guys, but we'll make back what we lose on Lucid right there, and here it goes, man. It's Intel. They're good. I mean, we just have to follow our rules, man. We are aggressive at trading, and just sometimes a little too much so. We gave this one a few seconds to play. Look, I don't think this name's necessarily going to moon here, but good trade so far, working itself into it. And it's that club that we talked about right there, right now, trying to make its way up into $1. So that name actually working out. And the other name that I want to go back was SK Hynix. And, that 180, yeah, man, I mean, that's, like I said, this was a level that we were looking at for sure, and it just did not hold, down 9% off of 25% yesterday. So SK Hynix, we say what's up to everybody in the chat. Zeta, IBM, ServiceNow, Tesla, a lot of people talking all over the place. So yeah, thank you guys for paying attention to what we're doing, and we're going to pay attention to you guys as well on the chat. There's SK Hynix 178.
Yeah, SK Hynix is catching a bit of a bid. There's an offer for $100K. On Lucid here on EdgeX. Here, there we go. I don't know why it doesn't automatically do that. So there's a $100K offer on Lucid, and someone just showed up a couple of times. So I was looking for one of these two spots to go for the fade. The first stop, someone else seemed to like it, and they just threw their order down. So I want to pull back into the volume-weighted average price if we can. Don't want to give it past that 20 at all. And SpaceX seems like it's coming in pretty heavily. I also have my bid out on BAC. We like this bank the most. They're already up a couple of points. I was looking dip into 60. It goes full breakout mode. So if it's going to be a breakout, pull back into the breakout price is going to be the way we go. So I'm in Lucid for the first time today. I'm willing to give a couple of shots to this, as long as we're underneath where the news started. But VWAP is about 20 cents away. So that's a little better than 1-to-1. I'll take that if we're able to get it for sure. Can't really look that gift horse in the mouth if we're able to grab it. The NASDAQ's still dancing and not doing much. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we're 30,000. Sorry, we're underneath 30,000. And then just heading lower. Yeah. So it's looking a little bit weak over there on the NASDAQ. Just not far enough up in silver to short it, or SpaceX either.
And by the way, just got to reload there in Intel. I mean, again, this may not work. It's still a little early. We do want to drop out though if it gets into 107, right? So let's be very, very clear about that we're not holding this thing through 107. It was a level that we had talked about. So now we're long on Intel. Let's see where this name rides to, and hopefully higher. But we're just going to give it a little bit of room there. We know the high is into that 108 area. So if it gets back up to 108.20, we will be able to clean out a little bit more of Intel. But it's not really working. And part of the problem is ASML has turned red. On the day. So, it just bounced, but I looked at it and it was red. So ASML down now 0.65 up, but was doing well, but we've dropped now $50 there. And again, the $50.
It's an expensive
seems
stock.
dramatic, but it's not really. So we'll see if it can battle itself back to the upside. And I just wanted to look over here because part of the story with Intel was ASML, but they're not going to trade together today. It's just that was the story there for myself. So, all right, that's what's happening there. I do like the SpaceX level again here. Oops, that's not Blue Ocean. That is Blue Ocean. That's not what we're trading right now. There's SPCX. So it just had a pretty epic run off VWAP there. It got to 137.30 up to 139.40. There goes SPCX. And I do want to say a shout out to everybody that's watching us right now. Again, the NQ is going to go red soon. Yeah, it looks like you're right about that one, Shane. And we're going to dump out of our Intel if it does go break through. So it looks like Intel right here momentarily threatening that 7 area. Yeah, what is up with this Zeta stock? That's a software name. So $23, maybe moving around. This stock does have the ability to moon. Yeah, there it is, up 2% as well. Google, we love some Google. We did hear that Warren G, aka Warren Buffett.
He admitted his.
You know, yeah, I was talking about Google there. So maybe he gets in, or maybe they get in at some point. And there goes Intel losing that 107. So, you know, we got to slap. Whatever, it's a fail. It sucks because we did rebuy it, but at the end of the day, there's the break now. And good thing, because yesterday we really put ourselves in a hole by trading NVIDIA to the long side and not giving it the room. And, you know, right here, we get out of Intel, and of course, there it goes now, right back up to the upside. So, got to have a little bit more patience. We'll try it one more time here on Intel, but that little low take there. Again, I don't really love trading Intel, but I think there's some opportunity here with it. It just made a low and we got stopped out. That's 160.90. So we'll have to 106.90. We'll see if that hits one more time. But yeah, we'll get back into the long here, just small this time. See if it comes back to 107.
So Lucid's kind of holding here, but it's not really doing.
Man, that sucks.
Like it's holding right just above the 5 level. Still looking for that pullback in the prior high. Like not a heck of a lot still going on with it. If it retakes the top, that's got to be an out. We got the lower high short in SLV, so it's not the top. I wrote in the note 53.2, but it trended from there. So I'll take this short to there, and if I get stopped out, it gives me another shot to take it at 53.2. Just looking back up at BAC. BAC hasn't really dipped, so I'm just going to cancel. Look, I'm bidding all the way down here $1 on BAC. There's no point doing that, in my opinion. If it breaks VWAP, I'll find another entry at some point. So short silver, the market's headed to the downside. Lucid may or may not care what the overall market is doing, but I would like to think that Bitcoin would. And it's not really falling. Bitcoin is looking pretty strong here. If it holds, here, the NASDAQ's breaking the low as we speak. If Bitcoin holds VWAP, that looks like a pretty good trend trade because a couple other things just are not setting up for me at all. And I like the fact that USO is going down. What makes me want something to the long side with USO coming down, but nothing's really setting up the longs just yet, so I'm not going to rush into it. We got a couple of shorts. Silver's at least coming down, but Lucid, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, I'm going to try Intel short, but I know you're in the Lucid.
No, because Lucid's going up, and it doesn't have to care what the market does.
What was that chart you were just looking at? Something was tanking there 2 seconds ago. What was the chart you had before this?
It was USO.
Oh, it was USO. Okay.
I had USO up because USO is coming back down to VWAP. So I'm like, I kind of want something that I could be looking long on, but I
thought
don't really
that
see
was Lucid
anything
there for a second.
No.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, another play that I was thinking about right here was actually SpaceX at these levels of 139 as a short, to be honest with you. But I do know that there's a 135 level that we sort of have to worry a little bit about. All right, man. We tried Intel again. I'm going to try to go short now off this 107 break area. The NASDAQ is bleeding down. This is a key level for the NASDAQ. Oops, that's ES. This is a key level for the NASDAQ because we've come. Get over here, NASDAQ. We've come right back into PPI level again. And we said this is kind of what we were maybe looking for on the NASDAQ, right? Was a low tick into where we'd started from. So just like yesterday, CPI upside, then downside. And now we wait to see if we do hold some of those levels. We'll flip up our game a little bit here on Intel, but you know, flip game not strong right now on INTC. And, you know, we didn't want to support it. We wanted to give it a little bit of room to breathe down here. Just felt like it was getting pretty negative in the NASDAQ, and this is a name that I don't mind shorting, but right now it looks like it's gotten the best of me both ways here. We went long first, now we're short in an uptrend here with INTC. At least we're short at 80, so it's not really the end of the world. That high rate there was 107.50. We can see if it deals with that, but it's still a little early to be in a lot of shares here, I feel like. It's only 9:42, so let's give Intel just a little bit of room to breathe. We do know this name can rip our faces off. That is for sure. And I did see Meta was
shout out to Lunch 911 here. Meta, you're gonna believe what the high is because you're probably looking at it. Same as yesterday, 666. It's a little bit ominous. It is what it is, but Meta heading red. But I don't think that's the big story to the downside. It's DRAM. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Like the market's coming back in, but DRAM down 3 points. There's a bit of a flush. Until this catches a bit, market could be in a little bit of trouble. This is yesterday's low as well. So SK Hynix, obviously, it had a strong day yesterday. This is exactly what it felt like at one point yesterday.
Oh, wow.
SK Hynix going strong when DRAM was going down. DRAM going down, now this one wants to break out. So my plan of action was to sit out opening range in SK Hynix, and once it starts setting a trend, just buy the dip on the first trend. Or it would have been shorted if it respected the other direction. But it looks like it's going to be buy the dip on any kind of an up move. I don't, like whenever it happens to be. So it's breaking out the top, dip into VWAP is going to be the play. I mean, I wish I could tell you Lucid wasn't exactly where it was when I called it up last time, but it is. It's exactly where it was.
That might not even.
Like it's not going higher. I guess that's good.
No.
But it's also not just going anywhere. So a bit of a disappointment there. SK Hynix has got
SK Hynix is absolutely mooning.
Remember
right
what
now.
it did
I mean,
yesterday?
It just went from like
This-
$8.
Like this stock, when it wants to go, nothing's going to stop
too
it.
bad.
Cheap valuation. People like to buy the dip, I guess.
That is for sure. And that was the plan of action today, was when we thought about this 1 minute until Canada interest rate decision. So get ready, Adara. Canada interest rates in less than 45 seconds.
I know I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
Waiting with bated breath.
For that one. No, not overly serious, Adara.
No,
But Adara, this is the thing. We've talked about that. Adara and I have, we're great together, but the sarcasm sometimes gets a little missed there. So, yeah, no, well, look, I mean, all jokes aside, we'll wait for Canadian interest rates. Our banks have been pretty hot, so we'll wait to see if they can. We don't want them to cool down, of course, as, you know, owners of Canadian bank stocks. But we'll wait to see what winds up happening there in just a couple of seconds. All right, so that's what we're doing now. Yeah, just we got a little piece out on Intel, but you know, nothing to really write home about. And the short's starting to print a little bit. We're short here at 106.95, so it's flat. We're now in the money 10 cents as we get ready for 9:45 and those interest rate decisions. What the? Okay, Intel has some Canadian paper or something. Nice little move upside there for Intel. Now it's starting to get going. What is going on? The market's going downside, but Intel holding up right now, unchanged for us here in Canada there. So that's good. We like that one better than getting anything that we know about here in the United States, where we are actually looking for in the United States. It was 33%. Now we've gotten some obviously hot or cooled off, inflation numbers, and there it is now down to 12% chance of an interest rate hike for everybody for FOMC here in the States, down to 29 of February, or February of July coming through now. 87% chance that we stay where we are, 12% chance of a rate hike right now. That was 33%.
That was 3 times high. It was way higher.
Yeah, it was 30, yeah, literally a third. It was a 2/3, 1/3.
These last two prints, I don't think we have to worry about those rate hikes in the near future.
No, it doesn't
Well,
seem like
the other thing that you got to think about here, and I'm going to think aloud, as I get out, it finally broke that high. Look, Lucid didn't move up much, but it moved up enough, and it's still trending higher. You got to wait to take another shot at this. But you got to start thinking about, hey, if we're not raising rates, that could be good for some companies that were really, like some small cappers that were really scared about higher rates going forward. So, you know, Rivian becomes at least a little appealing. That could actually be helping Lucid. Silver is working down. It's going to be just
Let's go
there to there as usual, like to VWAP, to the $0.50, to the low of the day is the plan of action. So that's the one that we got. Unfortunately, nothing else really set up. SpaceX, I wanted to short, but it wasn't all the way down here. I was hoping for at least a little bit more of a gap fill. But if it's going to lose VWAP, then we'll try to find our way into the trend. The market's looking weak. It's about to go red on the NASDAQ. It's just a matter of finding another short that isn't just SLV.
Yeah, we've got the big short on right now, and it's Intel. And this is, again, man, like we wrote it down as a long. We tried the long, man. We tried the long. And then we got reloaded right there on the short. We flip it up, man. We talked about having that flip game. I guess it's stronger than we thought. There it goes to the downside right now, Intel. So we make back this, and we'll just, I don't know. This is my problem, is now that I dig myself a hole early, I just get out of the hole now. And we should have, well, whatever. I can't control what happens in the market, but, there's a downside push now. For now, we're out of just over half of this trade on Intel. Looking for more. I just took some 40s. I'm actually waiting at 21. Got it. There it is, man. It's your face slapper right now. As we go back in, we had $1 one way. We have $1 the other way. Back in through 106 right now. Let's take another bid at 106 and see what winds up happening here with Intel. As there goes the NASDAQ, man, as Neil and in the chat, you guys had mentioned up there that we were going to go red there. So Sharif's not here right now, so shout out to Faux Show right there. Yeah, Intel $100. I mean, that would be pretty sweet. If we get that, then we're out of here, man. That's going to be a day ender for me right there. Yeah, thank you so much, TLYPO. Yes, Guy. No Guy. Yes, Guy. We love that segment. What's up, Yes, Guy? What's up to the Tat Man, Jim Tatty over there, a Toronto legend. But yeah, Yes, Guy, Intel. Here we go, man. Nice move to the downside here. INTC. We printed on that one, baby. So far, so good there. You've got SLV there. We both tried Lucid.
Oh, V is halted.
Oh, V.
Down this time, everybody. Sorry, I know a lot of people want this to go. It would have been fun to see it break $50 just to see the shorts get squeezed and everyone make a boatload of money that's long it. But halted down at 38. Looks like it's first halt of the day. Should be 5 minutes. That'll make it about 1 minute or so. It'll open back up. Sometimes, I hesitate to say there might be a long, but sometimes you'll get like the first halt down, and if it can hold on to the level, there could be a secondary play. But I'd be very, very cautious with this. It seems like it's not the most liquid stock in the world. It's one of the reasons. I don't know. I'm probably not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole, but if it can retake the 40, good luck to everyone that's in it. I hope you didn't hold through that halt. SpaceX, no bounce. The market just went lower, so we're still only in the one short. I don't want to. Not punching short at the low. You need to either get it bouncing back in through VWAP or it's going to be an absolute nothing bird. But you know what's also fun? When you see the market going to the downside and then you see Apple making all-time highs. Let's go, Apple.
Yeah, man, we love Apple.
Boringly amazing. And when things look bleak, then this one's on fleek. It is what it is. Apple, there was a story with Alibaba this morning, so good. I don't think that even matters. Alibaba, for what it's worth, is up 7% and absolutely blasting right now. So it's not just, there's some shorts that are heading in, but there are some strong names out there. Alibaba and Apple definitely leading the way. That's why they're on the free watch list. Shout out to both of them. Like both those names, wish we'd picked up some Bob. Didn't get some Apple on the dip, but haven't dip bought any Alibaba. I was waiting for 80s, and they said no, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't ever want to sell Apple. I remember.
Never.
Yeah, the story is I bought my.
Well, I shouldn't say never. That's not a. You should never speak in certainties.
Yeah, I bought my first Apple shares with the minute I got.
Yeah, but I have.
The minute I got my first iPhone, which was the iPhone 1. I went immediately and bought Apple shares. And so we've been an Apple shareholder for a minute. 105, I mean, there it is right now. We are at the day's low. We are starting to really start to print out now on Intel, man. I mean, now this is $1.30 in the money and going lower. And I don't even now really want to put out any more bids on this name. It's funny because I have a 107.50 sitting there. I might as well cancel that. We're not going to get that right now. And I don't want to get too excited about it, but we are pulling right back into the 200 period moving average rate here on a 5-minute chart. So we got to be careful with a potential bottom maybe forming now on Intel. It's not like we haven't been here before. Yesterday was the 14th, right? We got down into 104 off of a move that was 108 starting down to 104. That's $4. We have the short rate here at 107. So, we have the short late in this trade. So we'll see if it does come back in. A little bit of a bouncing spot here at 105. I mean, we get 105s now, then, we'll be really happy with that. So back into 105 right now. You know what? I'll be so happy with it. I'm going to take a 105.50 right here. Let's bid 105.60s as that's coming right in. And, this is the problem. Like I said, sometimes we get out a little too early, but we still have got 1/3 on. We're going to get bid a 60 here. Get that fill as here it goes to the downside. And yeah, the halters of the day. Yeah, thank you so much, Adam there. VEEEEE. There it is right here. Just opened up a couple seconds ago. Does get halted there at 38 and change down to 36. That's another one right there for you. And then you just said
there's another one, NVV. But that doesn't, it's got no volume on this other one.
Not yet though. It just started to get going. So here's one. We want to say thank you to Adam for this one. This could be one that, again, like look at this movement here. it's like there's so many continuations. We actually had Luis on the other day, and look, I don't think yesterday anybody made any money. I don't know if I don't think on the midday was a very popular, profitable stock. So you got to be very, very careful with it with the halts. This is another one right here. This one just went from, this looks like a reverse split probably. Our charts don't really show it off too well, but that was 37 cents up to 27. I doubt that's news-based or anything. I mean, it has to be based on something. This is what the chart looks like, and maybe I'm wrong. This is what the chart looks like. Yeah, no, $3-4. Yeah, so
I see a split.
We don't have a proper split action.
Yeah, they split
how
once.
late? How long?
I see it here on.
Ways ago, right?
Yeah, that was in May.
Looks
like they split in May.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Normally it has a split reference.
I have it here.
Oh, you do have it there.
1 to 37.
1 to 37. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was going to say. So this name definitely moving upside now. We'll wait to see what winds up happening, but there it goes, NVVE. Nice upside.
Oh, that's going to hold down.
NVVE is?
So NVVE just
halts.
It literally just halts. It's too late. It's halting to the downside after opening up. Just a matter of seconds. That was fast. I'll tell you right now, because I just moved to the stock. It opened up. And then halting down instantly.
No, July, actually. So I just put on that split thing. I don't know why.
I saw it.
I know, but it's right down in there. So it did split in July.
Oh, you know what? I probably hovered. No,
maybe you went the other way.
Oh no, I was looking at V, not NVV.
Oh, I was looking at NVV. Okay, so we were looking at two different names.
That's my bad.
But well, no, it's nobody's bad. So yeah, NVVE. That's what I was gonna say because it looked like there was some sort of earlier action. So right into there, I didn't have the split thing on my chart, which is weird because I've seen them before and it was taken off. But there it is right now. Let's go, man. It's getting the face slapper right now. It is your hot dog cannon trader of the day. It is another one. It is riding the bears as we go through the emoticons. Is that what they're called? There, as we go to the downside, more and more and more. Now that I have this iOS 27, man, I got to get those Genmojis going a little bit. But okay, let's get a little bit more out, man. The market may or may not be bouncing. It's been a big recovery day there for INTC.
Oh, absolutely has. But I'm gonna try our hand for the first time in SpaceX. It did just bounce into the volume-weighted average price, so it's here now. We got VWAP. It's already put in a series of lower highs, so you could say it's trending in, but I don't want it breaking. Like, here's your downtrend, here's your pullback. I don't want it breaking too far past the third mark here. So if it goes like 50 cents out, then we want to jump out of the trade. Do want to get it to the low of the day, so that's going to be halfway as a target, and then all the way is going to be a target as well. Still have the eyeballs on SK Hynix, and yeah, about Lucid. Sometimes it be like that. Like, Lucid made the top wick, but it's still looking pretty, I call it looking pretty strong, right? Like, I'm not going to jump back into it just yet because it's holding some highs, but like, we get our entry, made the top wick, it's putting in some lower highs, so if it can break down from here, I can take my shot at Lucid a second time through. But you know what? There's other fish to fry out there. Lucid was yesterday's story. It doesn't have to be crazy today. And anyone that I know we had some viewers that bought that yesterday. Congratulations if you held it. Because once they denied that story, ramp job. And by the way, that 2x listed.
Which one?
The 2x Direxion Lucid.
Oh, for Lucid, LCDL.
Yeah, it's gone. So
yeah, that was a good look by whoever mentioned that.
It was a good look by who mentioned it, but yeah, it lost like 50%, so it gets delisted.
So I mean, I really like that SpaceX trade. I think that that's going to be a good level there around that 139. I know you have a little bit earlier than that, but that's going to be a good one there. That 139 is. Did ramp up into that, and then I'm still waiting for 135 to come in. So, patience on this one for sure. But we had shorted 139 yesterday and into the afternoon, and we talked about how great that trade just turned out to be on the way back into its IPO listed price there, right? And so, again, like that trade, we'll see if it wants to work out or not. And then the other one that I had written down was, I mean, first of all, Intel has been great, but you're right back into 180 again now. So, this could be a key level, man. I mean, we wrote it down for reasons, and maybe we should think about trading it. Just been a pretty volatile move for SK Hynix, so watching out for 180. I still like that level. And then 134 for Palantir is, 133, not 134. 133 here for Palantir has been holding. And this is potentially a good long, man. Right into pre-market lows again for Palantir. We've seen these names, blast off. We saw that happen yesterday in the pre-market again. Bang! Straight there to the upside on IBM recovery. And now Palantir right now trying its best to get going, man. And again, if you are part of our community, we want to say thank you. And there it is right there. Thank you, Bravely. Thank you, ICANN, there for TikTok love. And here's another one. Oh, here it is. The Art Plus Music is here with a bunch of different emojis there as well. So, thank you so much to everybody for watching. As Neil and I, everybody, Sharif, Adara, all of us, Joe, all keep our eye on that chat, right? So let us know if there is any opportunity that you see, and we'll be able to address it. $ stock, highlights that, and then we can call up, once we get back from Adara, let's not do it now, but we'll call up our stock visualizer, and it's also on the board behind us. So shout out to, Fabian and our team here, which Fabian doesn't look like he's in again today. I hope that guy's feeling well.
Yeah.
Was feeling a little under the weather there. But okay, so Palantir, look, man, we said we liked that 133, and here we go, man, already upside on that play. Did cash out a little bit more on Intel downside now. We have a quarter left, just a quarter left of Intel. What's up, A?
Keep an eye here on AMZN. Now, I know Neil earlier was asking if there was news on this. I didn't have any at the time, but I just saw this pop up on Benzinga. I guess now people are recirculating an earlier report from Nikkei Asia suggesting that the company is courting sellers in China with U.S. customs-friendly warehouses. Make of that what you will, but just keep an eye here on AMZ. And I also have some comments here on PayPal coming through from Michael Burry. He's saying that $60.50 as a bid for PYPL is, quote, just too low. Back to you.
I don't know. I mean, we have to do some. Why don't you check that out? What is it?
Because it's LDC. Sorry.
What's the Lucid symbol that was?
LC. No. LCDL.
Yeah, check that out, Adara.
Here's what I can tell you. This is what we see in our system. This is what it looks like when something delists. I've seen it a million times with buyouts. Right? The deal closed and they're gone. And I read something saying that it's delisted. I've never owned it. I don't know what's going to happen.
It delisted yesterday.
Exactly. So
I found the official press release.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that's what I had read.
I mean, that's the reason why you want to stay away from.
You don't invest in those things. They're trading vehicles, and you don't want to be in them overnight. That's an unfortunate one because it basically halted after trading normally, and then now it's just gone. So that's a rough one, and I'm glad that. I don't know. I'm glad that I didn't trade it because who the heck knows? Like
You'd be caught.
You could get caught.
You probably would be caught. If you're caught in the halt, what are you supposed to do?
You're just done.
It didn't reopen.
But one quick update. I have reloaded silver, but our stop ran on SPX. We were able to get halfway out on SpaceX, so it'll be a flat trade overall, but we're still putting in lower highs. So I can jump back in, but I want it under VWAP. If it starts to break VWAP, especially with the market doing this bottoming tail candle, do not want to be fighting this. But I do like the fact that market's coming up, and we have a chance to jump back in if it holds those lower highs. Let's go up to the desk. What's happening now, Adara?
Yeah, what is happening now?
Here is the market, guys, today. S&P 500 initially actually dropping here to intraday lows, then recovering in the same 15-minute candle. So nice look there. NASDAQ, however, actually still struggling. So it's interesting. It's been a while since I think we've seen such a strong divergence between the performances of the SPY and the NASDAQ. That is certainly going to be in play and on watch today. As you guys can see on the left of your screen, Feds Williams making some comments that I think were pretty realistic. I'd say halfway between hawkish and dovish. He did acknowledge that inflation is too high, but he thinks that it maybe even has peaked as of this point. PayPal certainly below its pre-market peak right now. The stock was to the upside amid reports that both, I think it was Advent and Stripe that were looking to work together to buy this company at a $53 billion valuation, though I've seen speculation that Amazon and or Block could be involved in bidding for this name. BABA still making new intraday highs. Alibaba and Apple apparently working together on this AI in China, this Apple Intelligence. We already knew that. What we didn't know was that China has now approved it. So good look for BABA. SKHY, another name, much like Alibaba, which has its primary listing in Asia. Its primary listing here for SK Hynix actually did really well yesterday following a 27% rally in the U.S. Today, though, struggling a little bit, though, off the open, certainly above these pre-market lows. We're going to send you back over to the guys.
Adara, yay Adara, but at the same time boo Adara, because we were, I'll explain it, Adara, don't worry about it. Right there, because we were all over SK Hynix at 180, but not on it enough to hit the bid key there. So when I heard Adara covering it, I was like, let me go flip back over to it. And we had just talked about this momentarily moments ago, and it was at a good little level for us to take it at 180 support. And we were talking about it, supported by VWAP and all of that. So I'm going to try to take it if it comes into 181 again right now to get some SK Hynix. But I did want to talk about that before we talked about Trade the Pool. And Trade the Pool does have an amazing offer for you right now. These markets are active, and this kind of environment creates opportunity. Big moves, big setups, more momentum. To take action against these, you need to have two things: discipline and access to capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, of course, traders can now access firm capital. That's what Neil and I do here on a prop floor to execute their trades and their strategies and manage your risk. There's no more fear of blowing up your own personal account, no more moving your stop loss too early, although I seem to do that. You're worried about your own savings being lost? No longer. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please head over to tradethepool.com. That's one word. It's tradethepool.com. We also have the QR code right there in front of you to scan. Let them know you're coming from Trader TV Live. And let them know that this is the best YouTube channel you have ever found. And hit the like, hit the subscribe. And unless you found Mr. Beast, of course. I mean, we can't compete with 500 million subscribers, can we? But let's get that number going. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we will see Wagwan with that.
My daughter says that all the time.
What, it says Wagwan or?
No, Mr. Beast.
Oh, Mr. Beast, yeah. Thankfully, my kids aren't really onto that yet. We watched Beast games, and that was about it. They're not Mr. Beast guys anymore. Okay, so falling back into 180. Let's see if SK Hynix can do that. Nice double top again of 185, right? So this is what we talk about when we talk about momentum and movements in the market. There's so much opportunity every single day to trade whatever style you have, whether or not you are trading a reversion. Right there, like you make that move back up there to the upside, let it revert back to the mean, which would be VWAP at this point. So, are you coming back down into there or not? Have you played the VWAP bouncing trades? Did you play that, that first 5-minute sort of bottom candle back up to the upside? I mean, all of these plays are available for you. You just have to pick and choose. Oops. Look, I meant to call a Palantir and I went to SK Hynix again. Just like that Palantir, I mean, damn it, man. Darn it. I mean, another fail there for me, because that was another play, man. I mean, we just talked about this coming right into this level of 133, and it just ripped up to 134.40 right there. So giving you about another $1. So, you put 1,000 shares on, 500 shares on, and you make that $1, you're done for the day. I'll see you on the beach. And join my good friend Adam James abroad there, making just a couple trades early on and cashing out. Intel, whatever, man, still $1.15 in the money. We did cash out some more at 106. Hopefully we can come back into the downside. I'm waiting for a reload at 107.50 right now. Market back to Greensville, which is nice to see.
Well, can it hold to Greensville is the real question.
Not.
I know that it's back to Greensville. Thank you for the super chat here. Hood absolutely has been bullish. You can say April 29th if you want. The low was in the beginning of April. The breakout was in May. Distinction without a difference. It's not really doing much today, but I still like it. I think it's very clean. There's nothing about that says the trend is over just yet. Unfortunately, a related name, Webull, which seemed like it was on the verge of breaking out, it's going to have to wait. It doesn't take out that 780. It goes right to, that's the thing about a key price level. Just because you want it to break out, sometimes you get the rejection. So it does not break the 780. That's why I said you have to break this level and then you go on Webull. That kind of sucks. I was really rooting for that one. Adam James brought NVVE, boom, tap, please, updates, please. What?
Pretty please.
Oh, it's back up again. Okay, there you go. The tap is $25. This one halted down. It's now halted up. It's still only done 500,000 shares, so good luck with that. It really doesn't have a heck of a lot of volume. Probably halts a dozen times based on that. There's just no liquidity on this thing. So very, very difficult if you're looking at it. Fed Chair Walsh begins, of course.
Yeah, we don't have too much longer now.
Yeah, he's Senate Banking Committee today, I believe, right? So.
Yeah, so not too much longer. Another two weeks today, actually.
Yep.
Shout out. 2 weeks today, we get
no change.
Have you seen Randy around, man? I want to get another coffee over here. Maybe he's going back to that camp day over there at Tim's.
I messaged him.
Yeah, I think he's maybe one of the spokespersons over there. But here it is right here. This is what we're looking at for July the 29th. Again, 2 weeks today. It's looking, and we'll keep checking back every day, even in the middle of the day, as these policy meetings are going on there and as there's a talk. 87, 88. Let's call it 88 and 12 right now. So, that's what we're going to do. Stamp that. We'll have a look soon on what's going on with the Fed Rate Watch tool and the CME group. So that's what's going on right there. you know, again, this fell back in. I'm wondering if Intel's finding itself a base. So I'm going to put another bid here. Let's just go into the 20s. You know, we're getting lighter and lighter. We talked about only having a quarter left, and that's what we have. Sorry, it's 20% left, not a quarter. We will get out another piece here if we can come back into 20s. That is your 25 period moving average. And it has been a decent short here. But look at the NASDAQ, man. We're on the comeback trail right now.
Flying.
Yeah, I really hate myself for SKHY.
87?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is the thing. Look, Neil, I like that call, that's for sure. But I like this call better. We just should have waited for a 180 long. We did wait for it. We were very, very patient. It came back in. So that's the number 1 trade idea there, SK Hynix 180 long. But, you know, you can always judge for whatever you want, but I don't want to be judged based on those notes. I want to be judged on the trades I actually take. And right there, we did not take SKHY. So, yeah, sure, it's a great call. And I think we did the right thing, like by waiting, you know, for that. Like we didn't want to take it on that very first 180, but then for some reason, as we developed this strategy, got gun shy when it was back into there. So should not have done that. Not that we would have held it for $7. It probably would have held at least probably a piece of it. But yeah, nice upside play. I think the right out there, if you're long at 180, watch that 185 level now for it to come back through. We do have a new position though, and it's same thing. We're both on the same thing here, and that's SK Hynix, SpaceX. So we'll see if this name drops through, man. We got a decent position on now for SPCX.
Yeah, I was trying to get some fills above VWAP there, maybe into the quarters, but SpaceX, look, this is at least relatively weak. You're seeing the Qs pop into VWAP and holding. SpaceX pops into VWAP and is dropping. We got Alan now with a super chat. Alibaba, Chinese stocks showing signs of life. Absolutely signs of life. Signs of life, it's up 7%.
We talked about FXI.
7%, that's more than signs of life. 25% off the lows, that's a little better than signs of life. They are absolutely back alive for sure. Baba came into a monster, breaking 100. I was waiting for $80, so it is what it is. Kind of silly, I think. Sometimes you get the consolidation. That's close enough if you're thinking long term. But yeah, great look on Alibaba. It's holding and breaking the 50 period today that's going to be the key. So hold this 120. That's what you want to see. That's not the only rocket. Remember where the news was this morning. It wasn't just Alibaba. It was Apple and Alibaba. And the former of those two is also up 2.7%. Percentage-wise, maybe not as much, but in our hearts, it's much better. Definitely. In our hearts, it's much better because it's Apple. And I feel like more people own Apple than, in our viewership, than Alibaba. That's obviously just true in a broad sense. But yeah, leading.
That's true in the world.
Leading the way.
More people in China own Apple than Alibaba. That's what I'm saying.
But in our audience, even more so. The question is, can it actually put the entire market on its back right now? Because the NASDAQ is fading off of VWAP, even as we're getting a bit of a breakout. So that the shorts are kind of still working in a broad context, despite the fact that you're seeing some big runners like Baba, like Apple.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Rob Stracklin.
Yeah, Rob's here.
Chance you are around?
You want that coffee, baby.
Yeah, might as well get it now. Okay, so let's go, man. Let's see. Here goes Intel. So we just got another great fill at the low of the day for INTC. So, you know, trying to make the best of that trade. And looks like we did do that by getting out there. Now we'll see if it can drop down. So again, from where we had it to now we have 15%. You know, so that's something to look forward to on Intel if that can continue to drop down. SpaceX not really doing a whole heck of a lot. You know, I do have, you know, an upsized position, so we'll wait to see what winds up happening there with SPCX, SpaceX. So here we go, SPCX at 138. We're short right now and giving it a little bit of room to see what we can do here. Looking to get a little bit more if we do climb through some of these levels, but right now SpaceX is kind of making me nervous because it's holding these levels now. I've rather seen it continue back in, but we just held the 200 period moving average, so this could be a tricky one. Watch out for 138.20s to come through. Maybe we get a little short action there, but it's Intel, it's collapsing all over itself, and we'll wait to see what SpaceX winds up doing here.
Quick reminder to everybody out there, you can get the TraderTv Live membership, and if you do, you get Sharice's daily morning research note every single day. You got the big stories, it's all about the trade plan, the technicals, it's super in-depth, and you're always double digits on how many pages you're gonna get, $4.99 a month. There's some members-only videos. You get some custom emojis, badges as well. So definitely worth it. And we want to make sure everyone has a chance to look at this. And we want to thank everyone when they do the gifted memberships, because this is what you get. Right, we have the USO story in here. We got PayPal, of course, potential buyout for sure, some technical levels, some details on that news, ASML earnings, and then all the way down the line. So again, get that membership. You're talking about, it's like a quarter a day. It's 20 trading days in a month, right? So fantastic deal, and we're very proud and appreciative of all of you guys that have already signed up. Thank you for the super chat here. Jordan, can you look at, okay, I don't know the symbol. So, I mean, we don't mind venturing in, but I don't even think that's LGSXD. Is that OTC maybe? Okay, I can't call that up. So apologies, but I don't know if we have that one in the database. LGSXD, and I'm not familiar with the symbol either. If it is OTC, let me know. Adam James, NVVE continues to go. Of course it does. Of course it does. NVVE. You don't care about Blue Ocean, but you could apparently trade this one on Blue Ocean as well. I have to wait for this to stop loading so I can actually call it up proper. I can tell you it's at $28 because the level 2 is already up here. Even if this hasn't changed yet, there we go. 29 actually, now 1 million shares in volume. So making some fresh highs. Still hasn't halted a third time, but just give it a minute. It probably will at some point. It's already halted down and up because liquidity is such a concern. On the other end of the spectrum, because we got to keep it real, why does it do that? V still heading down, but it did not fall apart after the halt down. So that's a semi-good sign. If this can inch back over 40, they might be trapping some shorts here. If they can, because it's trend down, trap some shorts, break 40, break VWAP. That's got a little something. SpaceX, so it came 138 to 137. This is exactly what it did last time. Went to 138, tagged 137.5, back to 138. So this time reloaded because it didn't just run through the top. So still looking for that LOD here on SpaceX. Nothing's really changed. SKHY Hynix is making its first pullback in a while. So.
Okay.
Like if there's a dip to even be had, like in theory, this would be it. SLV, which we're still in.
Intel trade.
We're holding on to this short.
Ooh.
What I like about it is you're still holding trend. This one didn't really fall all over itself until late in the day, but once it makes that open high, we like it.
Oh boy, this Intel trade now multi right now as we are starting to get real spicy right now with this move. Intel, like we're now $2.50 in the money off the reload short. You know, we were long. Like this is the kind of trading that I'm trying to do here, you know, pretty much every day and just show you guys like, you know, key levels are fine, but then when they break, I really want to be able to find spots to get in. And, you know, this did go against us a little bit, you know, earlier. Our stop was going to be 107.50, you know, maybe, I mean, holding it to 108 could have been, wow. All right, could have been something there as well. And we do actually have, let's get spicy with this one. Yes, baby. Like I was saying there to Blicky Spears and everything, everybody trades completely different shares around here. So, you know, you just got to pay attention to what you guys are doing and then, you know, take the amount of shares that you're comfortable with, right? And that's why you're going to see different outs for different everything. So I'm going to take a piece out right now on SpaceX. I just reloaded it. So, you know, we're going to give it a little bit of room now to the downside, but so far so good here on SpaceX. We're now 35 cents in the money and just got another piece right there at VWAP. So that's what we're doing, man. Trying to do the best here on, you know, what's been not a huge amount of movement here today, but I'm really super glad that all of us were able to find this Intel trade as that's really starting to bleed down. We've got silver, we've both got SpaceX on board right now, and we're starting to get a little lower. That NVVE just halted right now. So NVVE, thank you, Adam, for this one. You brought this one to us early, man. $20 and change when we first got that super chat, and now halt, up to $32. Like I said, man, we'll have Luis on in the midday show. These are pretty hard to trade, and you know I'm sure Sharif and Joe will explain.
I promise you, Luis wouldn't trade an VVE. It doesn't have any volume. There's no liquidity.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what
he trades ones with big volume, like millions and millions of shares of volume.
Yeah, I mean this one just got started, so maybe VEEE would be up his realm as well. But we'll wait to see. I mean, you can always ask him how successful he's been trading these names. I'm sure he'll be honest with you. So VEEE coming through right there. But it's SpaceX. We do take our first position right now. We'll see if it's another one. We do have SK Hynix right now. I'm going to get another piece on Intel. But here we go, SKHY. We're going to give this a little bit of room now. 181 long, SK Hynix. We're in it for the first time. Breaking through VWAP, watching out for 180. Let's go SK Hynix. Short SpaceX, long SK.
Yeah, well, SpaceX, to me, it's this half dollar, and then once it breaks down, we'll look for $1.50 into the low of the day. It doesn't look very good for them at all. The market is trying to take a little bit of a bounce. SLV's doing the same thing, so I'm not going to go over the same stocks over and over again. IBIT is now holding above VWAP, so there's still some relative strength over in crypto land. Breakout, we're still above 65,000, just double check, 65.3. So as long as this can hold on to the volume weighted average price, it's going to start to look a little bit better. I haven't abandoned BAC, but it's under VWAP and won't get down to the prior high. So it's in a little bit of no man's land for me on BAC, but it just ticked back above the volume weighted average price. So this is finally the chance to get into it. I didn't trade it at all yesterday despite liking it, and we're in for the first time today. Like all day long was just sitting there like, yeah, you had to take this one for the 58 level. You had to take it at 8:40 in the morning, despite the fact you had to work through the earnings call. But I just held VWAP here. If it loses it, I'm out. I want to play this into HOD. But yeah, just the same trade. Overall, this is the only new trade for myself. Great earnings for these guys, too.
Okay. $3 on Intel, $1 now, hopefully on SK Hynix as we trying to break through 182. Let's see if that gets going. We take a little bit out there at 181.90 on the upside for SK Hynix, man. Yeah, there it goes. Just a little bit of size there at 182, taking that shorter, getting out of a long, I'm not sure, but now we'll have to wait to see if it does mature back to the upside right now. Intel absolutely puking all over itself. Glad we have that one to the short side. SK Hynix now going higher. We just take another out. We take one out there at 182. I mean, it's where the 50-period moving average is. So we, we'll like to take that out there. So now we'll wait for another bump up. We just took out 20% up there. That's it. We're now waiting for 182.50. See if we can get something in that range. But here it comes, just bleeding right now to the downside again. Is this name. So we have to watch out for SK Hynix. Obviously a difficult trade, but we're still long in this area. We're trying to get a little bit more long at 180. And if we lose 179, I think that will be the end of that one. And then we can just sort of regroup and, potentially start to look short then. It doesn't, just because it was so hot yesterday doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be super hot fire today. But here goes SK Hynix, man. I don't want to doubt myself on it because so far so good here on SKHY. And then, yeah, man, really good, like really, really good now on SpaceX. SpaceX looks like it'll now be P&L number, well, P&L number one for now. We have to hold on to see what's going on there. I told you we had a decent-sized position there. So here comes SpaceX, man, another one taken right there to the downside. So, yeah, man, so far so good here today. It's Intel 350 now. Intel's absolutely tanking. SK Hynix is in the money. SpaceX is $1. Neil, we're sitting on 450 right now. So that's the slappers right now. We'll see what winds up happening. But right now, it's a good one. SK Hynix, nice move. SpaceX breaking lower. That's a $1 club right there now in SPCX. And yeah, man, we're having quite a day one more time here. It's been a lot of fun anyways at the end of the day. So it's 10:20 right now. Let's see if SpaceX, what it can do. There goes SK Hynix. There goes SpaceX. Everything turning up right now. Go back over to the desk with ADAARA.
Just want to keep you guys posted as well here with some geopolitical news. Apparently, a senior U.S. official reportedly said, according to Axios, that Lebanon and Israel and the U.S. have agreed on the structure and guidelines for a regional pilot process. So again, looks like they're trying to work towards some kind of peace or at least agreement here between the Lebanon and Israel. Let's take a look here at ERNA, our first small cap in focus. I mentioned this one with Luis Barbado this morning. They have some news here. Independently conducted study validating their anti-tumor activity of their treatment, which showed complete tumor clearance. They also have a $9.7 million market cap, a float of 680,000 shares. 4% of that float is sold short. JTAI in focus. This one obviously pretty well below those pre-market highs, but I wanted to mention because of all this volatility and this choppy, halty price action. We found out at 8:30 a.m. here that their shareholders are going to be receiving $10 per stock in cash. They've signed a letter of intent for a new $300 million reverse takeover. They've got a $5 million market cap at 1.2 million share float and a 8.6% short float. Last but not least, it's what everyone's been talking about. Not a small cap in the truest sense of the word, $2.12 billion market cap here for LCID. This name, as you know, there was an old post from 6 hours prior recirculated on social media yesterday suggesting that the company was considering going private or beginning bankruptcy proceedings. This post was then denied by people who worked for Lucid. So interesting look here for LCID. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. We're going to send you back over to Sean and Neil.
Yeah, the shorts are working. I was about to say, if IBM double bottoms and holds yesterday's low, a take back through 220 in the afternoon maybe is an idea. But IBM's going to be a bit of a problem right now, unfortunately. I don't want it to be, but it is. There's still more fans what's better. You would like to see day 2 SSR that it catches a bit of a bid. I told you guys the target was going to be the low, pre-market low, and aftermarket support on SpaceX.
Oh no!
Just keep the structure with it. So I'm out of that one. But right when that started to work was pretty much our first shot at BAC. Look, give it a tight stop. I'm long it in front of VWAP. So keep the loss small. SLV, we're still holding on to this. It basically is just kind of scalping into the low end of the range. So I've got the shorts off the right level, like the prior day low. We're just looking for it to follow through. So we can be really patient with this, reload it every single chance we get. But really, obviously, SpaceX is going to be the one that worked out the absolute best. Just big time disappointment on IBM. The way that it ramped off of the open, this really felt like it was right at 220, that key price level, and then did a job up to 224, and now it just can't. What are you going to do? The market's down. So the big story from yesterday was IBM. It looks like it's headed into the red. I'm going to do my best to not look at it until it's at least 215 bucks. I don't even want to look at that stock because I'll just be overthinking it and trying to find places for it to SSR bounce today, which I think would be forcing the action. Not with the market looking as weak as it is, man. Like, this is not the day that you want to fight it. That's how you're going to get burned.
Yeah, so we got burned on SK Hynix. That came right in. That was in and out fast. I put a bid to go through 180 again, and I must have again put the wrong price. So in and out there. So we take an L there on SK Hynix, but oh boy, when we left you, we were $5 in the money, and that was including SK Hynix. But now we're $5 in the money without it because it is Intel getting absolutely crushed right here, right now. So we knew looking at the space was going to be the right call. Did we know that it was going to be a $4 winner on Intel? No, we did not. But there it goes, man. Put 4% in your accounts today on this move right there on Intel all the way to the downside. And we still have a decent piece remaining as well. And oh boy, man, we're still on this one as well. As there it goes, man. Let's get hyped up, everybody. It is SpaceX. We have way more than half left on this one as it is making the move lower, lower, lower right now on SpaceX. So all good. The only hits we're going to have today is SK Hynix. We lost a cup of coffee that Randy got us right back there on Lucid. That's a huge upside move, now up 17% on Lucid. But oh boy, man, it's SPCX. Once again, I mean, it's just been such a great trade since this name came to market. We love us some SPCX right now, but there goes the downside. And we're just going to have to wait because now Intel is absolutely bleeding to the downside. Now down huge in Intel. Now 450 in the money. Down 5% goes Intel, and probably on the back of some ASML. Yeah, ASML gave it all back right now. Red, going to turn red momentarily, I would assume, on this one. Let's go back in and check.
Memory is the weakest, I think. It's
1025, and I've never even looked.
It's DRAM right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought SK Hynix got rugged there too. So NVIDIA right now, if you look over here, 209.50 right now coming back in on NVIDIA. So as this name gets back, Walsh is speaking, man, and the NASDAQ is not liking it. This has been, again, what a great day, man. We do a stink face at this day today. Adara, what's up?
Well, I'm going to give more Walsh coverage later, but I have to say it's kind of hilarious that the chair of the Senate Banking Committee, Tim Scott, refuses to call them task forces. He keeps referring to them as working groups. And Walsh just keeps in turn calling them task forces. It's real weird, guys. It's really entertaining. I just thought that was really fun.
What does it make what they're called? What are they doing is what matters at the end of the day. Like, what are we fighting over? Like, sheesh. No, DRAM is bleeding its own blood right now. And that's certainly leading the way. You have to ask yourself whether or not, like, Apple's doing such a great job holding up. Like, how long is it able to do so? I'm really wondering if that's going to be the case. And shout out to everyone that was, like, obviously Lucid would be a loser. Again, it'll be a green morning, but why not just long Lucid through that key $5 level? Hindsight being 2020, it is in a very distinct upward trend. And it's all, I said if it filled the entirety of the gap, that's where I take the second shot. It's there. So it's a pretty simple one. If we break this trend, I'll take a second shot looking for VWAP on Lucid. 17% to the upside. I can only imagine Rivian. Oh, Rivian's already back to VWAP as Rivian. Rivian up 5%. There you go. So recovery happened in both of those EV names. One, I wasn't really expecting so much. I'm going to keep it real.
Yeah, we love keeping it real around here. All right, so right back over here. Let's have a quick look at the board if we can. Let's see what others are talking about right now. NVVE, first of all, another halt to the downside. If we have the, yeah, there it is. Thank you so much. Stock Visualizer. It has such a unique name over there. Is that Fabian over there that I see? Yo, Fabian, you're in the building? Yeah, man, good to have Fabian back as we see him. Welcome back, welcome back. All right, so I don't know what's up with that. But there's NVV halted. Okay, so there it is. The top tickers today. It's everything that we've been talking about. Apple's at 324. Yeah, finally, we like that, man. It's probably because I downloaded iOS 27, so Joe agrees with that one there. SK Hynix down 9% today. Intel has been just an absolute face slapper right now. Now $4, it was $4.50 in the money on that one, and then SpaceX $1. So we were covering most of these names. We haven't really looked too strongly though at Apple. I mean, I know we looked at it maybe a bit early, but wow, what a name that is! Continuing climbing right there. You know another name over there, my guy Joe. How about our best friend over here, Google, man? Put those goggles on right now. We just bought this name at 348, and there it goes, upside for Google.
You read my mind because I was setting this one up.
Yeah, really, really love this name as Google going to the upsides. Yeah, so what do you got going on?
No, I was trying to get this together, and very quickly, Apple at the all-time highs. We're doing it again, and this time we're going to get it right. All right? Which Mag 7 do you like best? Apple, NVIDIA, we're not going to put them all because I don't want to. Meta, Amazon, Google. Apple 1. Type 1 for Apple, type 2 for NVIDIA, type 3 in the chat for Meta, 4 for Amazon, 5 for Google, and if you want me to put Tesla, I'm not going to do it. If you want me to put Microsoft, we're not going to bother with that one either. You got to pick from these 5.
And you got to fade whoever wins that. You know, because apparently I wasn't here, but Apple was last.
Apple was dead last. It was a tie for last with Meta. It was a tie for last. So we did it twice. Apple was in a tie with Meta for last. And who's at all-time highs now? How you like me now, everybody? Apple, this time it's 36. So by proxy, maybe it is a fade. I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll see.
Is an easy kind of number 5. But
shock, Meta is still, Meta's now the dog. It was Apple and Meta before, but Meta is now the one infinitely lower. Alphabet looks like it could be threatening for the lead here with 28% early on. We'll leave it up to see what you guys really think, but I'm just saying it was a weird one to me why all the hate was going for Apple the last couple of times.
That is weird, actually.
Look, I don't get it, but whatever. It is what it is. It's now at some of those highs, and maybe it's not as appealing because it's an all-time high. Why not Meta? Meta's breaking out too, but you don't have to worry about Meta being stalled out at all-time highs because it can't get stalled out at all-time highs until it goes up another 18%. So maybe you like this one with a little bit more room. I don't know. But we got to be patient with it. We just had crude oil inventories. I just heard a draw, but I didn't even see USO really. I'm hearing it in my ear, and I'm watching USO not move. So probably not that big of a deal. Boyle's going to move tomorrow. Nat gas is moving when they do their inventories. Oil, not as much. I think tomorrow will be much bigger if you're looking for a 10:30 energy trade.
Yeah, air quality now an 8 around here, so
it's getting worse, man.
Yeah, well, we showed that map.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad.
Isn't that nice right there? But what is nice here is SpaceX still going lower, man. We've already gotten out at 136. I mean, yesterday, that's kind of where we had closed yesterday, around here, 136.50, 136.70. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get out. And I'm getting, honestly, I feel like for myself, I'm getting a lot better at holding things for longer. You know, it's what helped us with this Intel hold, and now just trying to give it time rather than just straight P&L. you know, obviously we have shares and we can cash out right now and put SpaceX at the #1 stock for the day just by cashing out. But we're going to give it a second. And if we lose on it, we lose on it. We have our stops and, you know, just trying to respect all of that and give it a little bit of room to see if we can bleed even more down to the downside. And it's just, you know, it's been working over here. Give space, give stocks space, I think. Is something that we need to do these days. You know, the market is just a living and breathing thing. We never know what's going to be underneath it, right? I mean, we are now down 2.37, and we were actually quite nicely cruising earlier on today off that PPI number that came in cooler, and we said, let's wait to see if it retraces back the NASDAQ like it did yesterday. The difference of the days are, and this is what I'm saying, what a difference it changes. Oh, Apple is now hunting for AI chip acquisitions. So, okay, Apple has not bought anything in a minute. So let's see who's going to be AI chip maker acquisitions, right? So, you know, we'll have to wait to see who fits.
They usually
that
go small though. They're not a big they're not a massive acquisition.
All I have right now is that headline. As I get more, I'll give you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Who's like a
Marvell's,
small to medium?
yeah, no, I mean, chip makers now are, there's no small to medium chip makers anymore, but Apple and Marvell, there could be a little bit of a tie up there. I don't think so. I don't think they have enough structure to do that. I don't know who. I would say it'd be more of a collab anyways that they would schedule in. Not that they're actually going to take anybody over. But yeah, Marvell. I mean, the TPUs that could be made over at Google as well. But here we go. We'll have to figure out who exactly an AI chip acquisition could be. Who could be one of those parties? Let us know in the chat if you guys got any ideas there about potentially who those could be. But maybe it's not going to be Intel. Look what Intel just did, right back into the lows again now for INTC. Meta.
Yeah, it's like, no, I was just thinking some names. I mean, ARM's at the low of the day. They're down. Nothing seems obvious, but you're just speculating on names. What you don't like, I don't want to hear acquisition news at the highs. It's literally breaking the all-time highs, and now they want to talk about that. It's the wrong moment to do it. That's not going to help at all, but doesn't really make a difference. Obviously, there's the inventories. It was at 169. It didn't move. We're slightly headed a little bit lower on USO. So this is not helping the market, the fact that we're gently going to the downside. USO, sometimes that gives us the bounce. Today, it ain't happening. What is bouncing, though, is a name that potentially could be acquired. That's PayPal. PayPal's bounced into the volume-weighted average price. I'm going to look to grab this one. I'm going to give it a relatively tight stop. Remember, it's $60 if there's a deal. If there's a deal. Right now, it's just speculation and not approved by the board. Let's go to Adair.
Yeah, I got a little bit more info here on this Apple story here for AAPL. So as Neil and Sean mentioned, the information reported that Apple is, quote, hunting for AI chip acquisitions. Now, apparently, though, they're actually already talking to bankers about making these potential deals. So that suggests they could have some people lined up. Apparently, their in-house M2 Ultra chips have not proven sufficient for running advanced AI workloads, which is why they've had to be reliant on NVIDIA to this point. Looks like they're trying to reduce reliance on NVIDIA by acquiring their own chip company. So interesting look here for AAPL. If I get more info, I'll keep you posted.
Something possible.
Yeah, but I think this will be, you know, startups. I think you're probably right. I don't really see Apple making a big acquisition.
Be somebody private.
Yeah, and then if it's going to be somebody that somebody major, I do think that they can just wrap it up. I mean, it's similar to like how NVIDIA made a promise or a look at Corning there. Wow, Corning down 8%.
What?
So like some of these names, really starting to get hit. There, Marvell, Corning, some of these, probably IREN, some of these mad names that have been really starting to get angry over the last couple months. Marvell hit that high at 330. Luckily, we were able to get some out, and we talked about that live. I got out live on air when that happened. And this is not something where it's like, oh, I bought this, I didn't buy that. I mean, we showed you guys there on Marvell. And, IREN, again, another name that we've been buying. We bought some at 50. We bought some again. I think it was like 48 or something. No, our first buy was here. Yeah, our first buy was like 45, and then we bought 50s again. We didn't take that one. Or maybe it was here. Maybe this was our first buy. Yeah, 47, 48, that makes more sense. And then it came back in, and we did buy again at 50. It did go back up to 60, and now we're down. So this one, we are well under the water. But this Marvell has really come way back in. I mean, this one has helped me, you know, in that little game that we had, and hopefully we'll be able to start another one up soon. But down 6.5% now, Marvell. You know, again, take some profits. Like, you can't watch this name go from $60, $70 in the portfolio up to $320 and not do anything about it. So there is sometimes some point to ringing registers on that one. And if you want to talk about ringing registers, there was never a point today when we should have rang this one, because Intel is now absolutely dead. Down to 102, a $5 winner right now on Intel, man, and just going, gone. Put 5, I guess it's about 4.5% or so on that one. And the only stock that we do have a significant hit on today would be SK Hynix. And, you know, thankfully, it's could have been a hell of a lot more significant than where we got out. We got out on a 180 break, well, sorry, 179 break downside. And we actually got a pretty good price, 170, looks like 178.75 or so, so 25 cents of slippage there on that. That's an in and out. That's a nothing. I got in and realized, what the hell, wrong price, and got out. So, but there it is to the downside. I only wish that we had shorted it. That's all. But there goes SK Hynix, waiting for 180 to break again, and I'll probably take the long if that breaks. But I got to reassess, man. I mean, now you're ways away from that 180. But yeah, SpaceX still tanking. You're into PayPal and silver. Good name so far here today. That GTAI, before I throw it back, just halted again. So there's GTHI, just halt. And we'll wait to see this one. 18 million shares, but
that's so
wow,
untradeable.
Intel now 550 in the money.
That's absolutely untradeable. Great one on Intel. That's the thing. And remember, just make sure, try to keep the losses relative to the wins. That's all it's about. And you can reverse, you can do whatever you want. We haven't looked at Micron. That's apologies. SK Hynix is moving more than Micron these days, so that's probably why we focus on it, or DRAM. So we will check it for you, Count Dooku. Your name is probably not Count Dooku, but whatever. It's Dooku, so why not? Like everything in the memory space, it's not much different. This is not necessarily a Micron thing. You know, the entire group is getting absolutely rinsed today. DRAM has lost the 50 period. You're consolidating lower and looking like it wants to break. SK Hynix, as much as it was the bell of the ball, it's been breaking down since making that fresh high. Like, once it broke trend, it got nasty, and really nasty really quickly. So that's looking pretty nasty. Is it just a coincidence MU and SNDK charts are similar? No, it's not, because it's the theme. Right? Like, it's the entire group is selling off here heavily. And really, you have to consider that everybody has been thinking, not everybody, but a lot of people have been thinking, hey, at what point do we have this glut drive? When is the top? When are margins not going to continue to go higher? When can they not just raise prices anytime they want? Those are the questions that are getting asked. And right now, people have their finger on the trigger of the sell, and they're asking questions later.
Trigger finger.
Muffins. Oh, wait, I just missed the last one. Sorry. Down to Sky. Oracle, no jinx, but it is holding well. Thoughts? Adair's probably going to have some thoughts on it. But when you have the strong names in the AI trade start to fall off, we've seen the others go the other direction. That can be Oracle finding some strength. We've seen it multiple times with Apple for sure as well. So it is something that you want to keep track of. But I don't want to read too much into it. Like, this stock has a ways to go before it breaks this trend line.
We want to thank everybody for being here today. And I have a very important announcement to make. The #1 P&L person on the desk today is my guy over there, Joe. So we say a shout out to Joe with the face slapper. There we go. Congratulations, Joe. You're never gonna let me play you down. So there it goes, Joe. Shout out to you, man. Great job over there. And I think it was just one trade, right, Joe? It was TQ. Oh, you don't have your mic on. Yeah, so TQs. We'll go back to Joe in a minute, but we got to go back over to Adara. Congratulations to my guy, Joe, over there, putting up some big numbers on the desk here today. Let's go back over to the desk and see what Adara's up to.
All I'll say Oracle is one strong day does not a bullish stock make. Let's take a look here at the sector board, because you do have some strength here in tech services, including Oracle, up about 3.5%. A lot of these other SaaS plays as well recovering after a lot of them had some weakness yesterday with that IBM drop. You have ServiceNow up 2.5%, Adobe up 4%. Wow, you've got Accenture here up 3.5%. IBM, the stock in question here, they're down about 0.7% today, and a lot of the names that didn't really feel the wrath of the IBM drop yesterday, they're dropping today. Datadog to the downside, Fortinet to the downside. CrowdStrike to the downside. Palo Alto barely, basically flat here. You also have, though, some strength in retail trade, health tech, other than Eli Lilly pulling back a bit here. Consumer services is really strong. Commercial services looking great. Consumer non-durables great. And finance generally doing pretty well here. You've got some strength in the likes of BlackRock, which of course reported earnings this morning, Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Blackstone. Let's talk about what's weak. Well, other than Apple, which I believe would be at a new all-time high today, you've got a lot of bleeding in electronic tech. Dell down 13%. Apparently, this is one of its largest drops in a while. You've got Micron, SanDisk, WDC, Seagate to the downside. These memory names taking quite the hit. So you do have marginal strength in the likes of Boeing within this sector. So kind of, I guess, some strength to be found in electronic tech, just not that much. Producer manufacturing, just to go back to these sectors a bit, that's really weak. Energy, minerals, and industrial services also pulling back. Back to you.
All right, we have a new position here with Palantir. So we'll see if that what's going on here with PLTR. Joe, I have some bad news, man. I'm coming for you pretty hard right here. SpaceX now downside right now, and of course we all love what we're doing here, but there goes SpaceX down to 136. We had written down 135, man. This is now the lowest SpaceX is pretty much traded. I mean, we saw it yesterday at these levels right there. Oh, and there goes Palantir. So we give back a little bit there, Joe. So you're still there on Palantir. I thought this would be a chance into those levels. It looks like we may get a chance down here at 133, but yeah, absolutely just cranking right now. $1.60, like, I went it was about 20 minutes ago. I was like, Neil, man, we're $5 in the money. Now we're $6 alone on Intel right there, and we're $1.60 now on SpaceX. So, things are starting to really get heated up right now one more time here. So it's PayPal, it's SLV, it's Intel, and it's SpaceX, and it's a big morning to Sia. How are you doing over there? Miss Sia. Spain gets the win, and I believe Sia called 2-0. So there we go. Congratulations to that. The Oracle of Gambling, Sia
well
over
played.
there. But yeah, there goes SpaceX, man. 136 and change. Oh boy, as we say there again. Oh boy, SpaceX making new moves down lower. 138, man. We've got this and we've got Intel. Pretty much those two is all you need for today. And we'll wait to see what happens now with Palantir as it just dropped below 133.50. We like that one. But yeah, so far so good here today. Yeah, Palantir downtrend. Yeah, I know.
Well, but think about it's IG. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody, but the market was breaking to the downside. IGV just broke the trend line.
I still like Palantir.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yesterday, Palantir's strength had a lot more to do with them selling the crap out of IBM, and then all the other software names just going down because of that. Let's be real. So when it caught a bid, there was some of that relief rally going. PayPal, it's coming down in through the volume-weighted average price, but see this top of the opening range here, 54.8 or so. So I'm in at 55.3. I'm looking for that scalp, like right into the next key price level. Remember, this is still likely to have some risk of a higher bid. So always a stop above the high and try to scalp it out where we can. Someone's holding the even dollar, so we'll get some out there. But then the last bid's at 54.8 on PayPal. I saw something, when the market has this kind of a down move, every once in a while on volume, stupid blue ocean. And then when I type blue ocean, I have to wait for the chart to load. And then I got to do this. There you go. Sorry, guys. It's just one of those weird things. If you hit enter too fast, the first thing on the drop down at real trading is BLs a lot of times. But I saw a trend reversion on Warner Brothers here. It's done a few million in volume. So I'm just long here, looking for the volume weighted average price, and again, giving it to the low. That's one of those trades you'll see me in every now and then. Not often that this stock does a move like that for obvious reasons, but it is doing it now, so we'll grab it. SLV, more of the same. It's still holding on to those lows. So far, again, so far so good. Limit the losses and make sure you hold on to some shorts in here because it looks like a red day. Even the strong names. And I'm talking about Apple. That's made its high and it has not looked back. So even Apple is sliding back in. It's not disastrous, but hey, if they're not going to be able to hold the bid, then this market is not going to show any signs of slowing down. We're only 0.7 to the downside. I know it seems like the NASDAQ's worse than it is, but there's room.
Yeah, you would think that based on what you're holding there, but I do want to show you guys pitch. Well, first of all, we're back into Palantir, so while we take a little bit of profit on here, this is what our skies look like in WOW right here in Toronto. Like this sky is supposed to be a different color.
It's bad,
man. Right? And so it's now air quality 8. right now. So not good at all on the air quality, like basically almost dead right there. And, you know, just absolutely crazy. Here's another picture. This is from Randy. Randy was supervising outside, so he took some of these pictures. Not great right there. So yeah, not a good time to be a bird, I guess, or a human being, as we have to.
Well, if you have any respiratory issues, you should.
Yeah, no, it ain't.
Not be outside.
It ain't great. That is for sure. All right, Palantir still going, man. SpaceX right now at all-time lows. We talked about that, and Intel still cranking, and we still got some position on Intel. But I'm just gonna get the rest out now. Intel's made its move today, and you know we basically took the whole move. So you know we got to make sure that we're getting some out as this day is just still pretty young, man. It's only 10:46. Okay, now it's starting to get a little bit ahead of myself here, so I'm going to punch out some more there at 30. We still are bidding 20s, almost out of Intel, less than 10% there. Still got 90% of this one. We'll see if Palantir can go. And I think wise decision is always getting out in front of key levels, and a key level would be 134, even dollar value. So we'll see if we can get that one going. Again, we lost already small on Palantir, but now we'll see if we can make big on it. Intel doing its own thing, SpaceX doing its own thing as well. But yeah, that really sucks about that air quality. I mean, there's so many kids around here at camps and
they won't let them outside of camp.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to just do all that, and you pay the big money there to go up north and to have these camping trips. And my kids are there next week, so hopefully it'll be all cleared up by then. But yeah, man, what a crazy opportunity.
Well, the scary stuff was some of the videos they were showing.
Yeah, I mean that was nuts. There goes Palantir, by the way. There's 50 cents again on PLTR. So let's go. We'll go over to Neil. But yeah, so far not the greatest movement here for the NASDAQ today, down 0.63.
But it's actually not that bad. It's really not that bad as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to look for where I want the reload. We got our couple of legs out at that 55 was the right decision, but it's coming right back into crest, breaks the high out, holds it, confirm, close underneath, and then I want to reload that one. The gap is huge, and there's a couple of dark pools, so I can't really get the scaling any better on that chart. But I wanted to go and say, it's not really that bad overall for the market yet. That's the thing. We're absolutely bleeding, but just look at where we have held yesterday's low. We're basically bouncing off of yesterday's low here on the NASDAQ. So this is kind of at that point where, look for a couple of reversions long. I got one that I think structurally really shouldn't be falling the way that it is. We'll see. But I'm also looking back over it. Hey, what was strong yesterday? BAC. I had the slap to fail on it. It was a really tight stop on BAC. But this is trending up again. So it's time to take another look at it. We could get back into the highs again, tight stop, but that's the way I like to do it. Keep that risk to reward. And they're going to play this trend line. There's the open, there's the higher lows. So instead of waiting for it to break the trend line, I'm going to look for the long off the trend line because I found some relative strength, and it seems like it's going to be in at least this bank. I haven't looked at all of them, but BAC, one of the best performing on the chart. No questions asked. And also, it's got a good relative value as well. We had Morgan Stanley this morning. They did have a good report, but BAC seems like it's the best of the bunch in all aspects here. So we're going to try to grab that one on the dip. We're going to go up to Adara, see how the US dollar is doing.
Here's the US dollar, and it's coming right back into potentially testing for the 5th day so far since the start of July, this key 100.5, 100.6 level of support. Now, this actually, as we know, as I've mentioned a couple times now, served as resistance going back to March of 2026, November of 2025, even earlier here in August of 2025. So this level has been pretty key. Let's see if we test it one more time today. Time to go over some of this economic data that we had. Now, as we know, PPI for June of 2026, much like we saw with CPI for June of 2026, clearer than expected across the board. Month-over-month PPI negative 0.3%, core month-over-month PPI 0.2%, PPI year-over-year 5.5%, and core PPI year-over-year 4.7%. We know some of these Fed members are specifically looking for core numbers, especially to be cooler than expected, and we certainly saw that for the last 2 days. Let's take a look here at the CME Fed Watch tool, which is continuing to suggest that we're going to have rates held here. About now, 87% of participants expecting a rate hold, 12% expecting a hike. It's about what we saw yesterday. If you look forward here too to the probabilities, now we're only seeing one hike in October of 2026. Now, earlier we were seeing 2 hikes, the first of which would occur at the September meeting, so not the next meeting, but the meeting after that. Now it looks like we have 2 meetings to wait until we potentially get a hike. Also worth mentioning, Fed Chair Walsh now at the Senate part of his 2-day monetary policy report, a semi-annual monetary policy report rather. You can find this highlight from the House report on X at TTV Research. But so far, as I mentioned a couple times now, one of the more entertaining things of the Senate report that you didn't really see at the House version is that they keep calling his task forces working groups, and he doesn't really seem to like that. So interesting note here, he's a little bit testier as well, I find, than he was yesterday. But again, we're only about an hour into what's usually a 3-hour meeting, so stay tuned. You guys know I'll be watching this even on my break. Back to you.
Yes, we do, and it doesn't matter what he says. What matters is what direction the Fed is taking, or the direction that we think they might not be taking anymore, and that is raising rates. That's going to be the big key. Like, he can say whatever he wants today, and you can have the back and forth, but as long as rates aren't going higher, that's going to be good. We'll see what that means for the IPO environment. There is one tomorrow, not today. Do not forget C-Square, 1.5 billion. Got that one on the radar, but might be the end. We'll see. I still want low of the day. We've been patiently waiting for SLV to get to the low, but the trend is the trend, and it's been kind of brushing this trend line the whole way. So if it breaks the trend line, I'll jump out and look for a reload of the trade. That's basically what we're looking for. IBIT is also strong, 1024. We did mention that, staying above VWAP. Bitcoin, crypto, looking very good today. I think Robinhood was having an okay morning at one point. I'd have to double check that now. But 65, we've been at 65.5 multiple times, which is exactly where we're at this high. 66 would be the bigger level. Like, if you look at the daily chart, it gets right in here. Let me zoom it in for you. There you go. It's right in here. Just one more tick up, another point, and then you've got that 66. It's a 50 period on the daily. You could do worse than that too. Like, this could be maybe not just BAC. This could be a nice little dip buy and runner. This is where the strength is. I mean, the strength is in other places. It's in Apple, it's in the banks, it's in crypto, and it's definitely not in the memory chips. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to see Bitcoin back. This is where we last bought it, was 66,000. So we've just been sitting on our hands waiting to see what Bitcoin wants to do down there at those prices. So I do like that look. Yeah, Intel back into the lows. What else is new there? Palantir does run, and we, cleared some out. I mean, 134 right ahead of this area. So we have half left here. It's a little more than half left on Palantir. It's come back right into our price again. So we're still going to wait for 132 to break. Sorry, 133 to break. And if that does happen, then we will flash out. And actually, I'm going to put a little bit lower, 132.79 as an out now that we're able to get out of some more. And we are going to average this in downside at 133.20 or so into sort of the heart of that one there. Good. I got your mic off there, so that was good.
I don't know if it helps.
Yeah, okay, so 10.50, 3.50. We don't have what's for lunch, so we'll just go what I hope is for lunch right now. I don't know. Might as well give it a go. Here again.
That's why.
So I hope we have those. I thought we had a good run last week, or a little bit in those bowls. We had some like Mexican bowls, so I'm hoping for some quinoa, some rice, some lettuce, some chicken, and all that.
But it was tacos yesterday, so I don't know if they would.
I don't know if it is either. This is what you hope it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I just hope it's not tilapia.
Change my vote.
So I'm going to go with some sort of a bowl situation, and we'll update you guys on what it is later.
I'm hoping for assorted sandwiches. It's been a minute,
That'd
and
be great.
the assorted sandwiches, I know it sounds simple, but trust me when I tell you, it's like one of the best things to do around here. Like, you get maybe egg salad, tuna salad, or chicken salad.
Any caterer would do, right? I mean, as long as you got the fresh bread.
That's exactly the point. Like, it's a high floor. That's what you like to see, like a prospect with a high floor, which is what you want to have. Which I'd love sandwich today. I could go for that. What I don't like today is, I don't know if I'm going for my walk today. I like to stretch the legs, but man, like, even walking from the subway to the office, like, it was just, like, you just feel it when you're breathing the air. I don't know if I want to be walking around for a half an hour in the middle of the day, but we'll see if we get some exercise. Exercising some restraint with IBM today is one thing. It's at $215. It is getting very close to the low from yesterday for a potential double bottom. I know it hasn't really been talked about. It is moving down. Obviously, there's bigger things happening in the market than IBM. There weren't any yesterday outside of SK Hynix, but it's getting pretty close. Like, one more tick down, one more point, and we're at yesterday's low for a double bottom. Remember that SSR applies to 2 days. It's the day that it goes 10% down, and it's the following day that the uptick rule is in effect. So I still like it for an SSR bounce and trend break. but I want to wait till it gets down to 214-ish. That's where the low is, 213 change. Actually, yeah, so underneath 214, 213 change. We'll look for it to make a potential double bottom. This is still bleeding. I heard Kramer said even he couldn't say this is a buy down. He's like the business, but you got to let this one settle down. The sellers are very much in control of this thing still. I think they'll probably overdo it and you get a chance. Chris in Minnesota, I'm assuming Minnesota. Apologies if you're not from Minnesota, but that's what I see MN to mean. And you're asking about Caterpillar, probably not a good day. There it is, 2.5% down. Hey, if you're part of AI, you're probably not winning today. If you're spending money, that's a better way to put it. If you're spending money in AI, then you're not the winner. Oh, this is losing the 50 period. Good news, it's lost to 50 before and held. Bad news, does it feel a bit different this time? The market feels like it's in a different spot than it was back in March. So I would say it's entirely possible. But these long-term holds, if it loses the 50, gobble it up at the 2. That's the way I like to think about it. And it's also the reason why sometimes when you sell, like, I don't know, like 10% here, 10% there at all-time highs, it does look foolish, but it does give you some powder to be able to buy back if it gets to the 200-period moving average, which for myself is the next place I'll be looking if CAT can't hold this level, Caterpillar. Because they started moving based on the generators and the data center spend. If that's under threat, remember, it could start falling back in, and then you're looking for just a repricing. They're just going to reevaluate all of these names. That goes for GE Vernova. You can say the same thing about GE Vernova. You can say the same thing about Constellation, and a heck of a lot of other names that are going to get repriced here.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I mean, I think it's about IBM. I think it is a little risky. I think you always want to give it 3 days, right? I think we sort of had tried to develop that a little bit as well. Okay, guys, yeah, just here it goes. Let's see if we can get some props up right now for Palantir because it came right into that 133, and we said, oh boy, we wanted to buy it down there, and that's exactly what gave us that opportunity to do that. So here we go, man. Not that it matters, but we're putting in some damage right now back there to the upside. So let's go. Palantir going to turn out to be my P&L number 1, it looks like, coming very, very soon here, PLTR. We did get out of some SpaceX, obviously down there again. I just took some more out there at 80s. Now we'll wait to see where that goes. But I'm resting my laurels right now on Palantir. And again, a name that we had missed early, but got it late. Right there. So we make the money there. We got stopped out, bought it back, let it fall. And again, just showed some discipline. I feel like we did not stop out. We waited for that 133. We loaded the boat up down there. And here it goes, man. Nice upside. Yeah, let's go. PLTR. You know, we're threatening Joe's lead over here, which is always a good thing. We want all of us to be on the leaderboard there today, and that's the idea as we get going. And it doesn't matter, leaderboard or not, you got to make your money. So we'll props up anybody that is green today. And I do want to show you, because we didn't do this yesterday, and I try to do it all the time. There's only a minute left there. We already did the what do you wish was for lunch segment, new segment alert, by the way. What do you wish for lunch? And right here, if you wish in one hand, you may get something else in the other. That was one of those Joe lines there. The task force has now been enabled over here on Trader TV Live. The Wilson Katina Capital Force is well in force now. Blue Ocean, somebody right there. I need like Hydration Nation right there. Someone swimming yesterday. 31,000.
Remember, that's 2 days ago, though.
Don't tell my math teacher. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Don't tell my math. I mean, no one really cares. Don't tell my math teacher that I'm rounding up here. 31,000. Is that the right rounding there? Or don't tell my kids. 29. Here, we'll round this one up. $30,000 on Amex and NASDAQ. Here's a proper roundup. $27,000. I'm just doing this so you guys can see. So these are the top 10 traders here at Real Trading, right? We trade at Real Trading, a prop floor, prop desk. So we got to go through some of these numbers for you right now. And it's a big one for some traders yesterday, man. 30, 29, 27, Amex, blue, Canada, again, 16, NASDAQ. Yo, what's up? Someone went and got their hair and teeth fixed and traded over there in Turkey. So shout out to that one. 11.5 in the Turkish market as well. So, you know, go get your stuff tight and right over there in Turkey. Someone made 11.5 over there while getting those implants. So congratulations to that one. I should have joined you a few years ago myself right there. But Palantir upside, SpaceX downside, Intel $5. Man, if you can't tell we're having a good time, we are. It's Trader TV Live. So, Betty, ready for the midday show.
Absolutely. You know what, though? You might not care that it was 2 days ago, but I'll show you why you should care. This is about, I saw this 2 days ago when we were looking at Blue Ocean. SK Hynix, first day trading on Blue Ocean here at Real Trading. It bounced at not $150.25, not at $149.80. It bounced twice at $150.00, right off of the even dollar level and went straight up. So I don't think it's a guess. They're trading this, and that's all they're doing. Someone's just taking the long off an obvious level. It holds, it goes. 10% move off of the lows. Someone takes that trade one time, and maybe that's how they made their profit.
Opportunity. More than one people.
Well, I'm saying multiple people. You got to believe that's where it's going to be because it's memory, and more memory chip names. I don't know if there's any small cappers in the memory space. There aren't. But there's certainly some movers. Sharif will have those. Joey options. Maybe he's into that IBIT long because Bitcoin is looking pretty strong today. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. You guys will find out now.
This is in the